we had a lot of interesting fights this game. I think that I don't know how you're thinking here of the 4v split on Trifecta Hodrix. I think it was a way too stretched on that position. I think that one player north, two players to the east, and one player southwest of Trifecta, and D plus Kia comes in, and they lose one player off the back of that. It is good to hold off teams in Trifecta. I think they were holding off D plus Kia and maybe 77 at some point. They're just trying to push them away. But it's such a big split that you are at risk of knocked, your chances of getting that res on a 4v player is extremely low at that point.
Yeah, I think anybody who's like watched any of these stages at all understand that D plus Kia love to do this strategy, right? They rotate from docks, they wait for like circle 3 to pop, and they're just waiting on that south side to see where the zone goes. So yeah, these teams, they know that's happening. They want to shut them down, so they waited it out and were able to gatekeep them. And speaking of gatekeeping, another one that we saw Jason earlier on was BTR, right? BTR with a nice little gatekeep on Major Pride. They needed those points. They got some of them.
I mean, Major Pride.
Another
teams who stepped up over the course. In my eyes, it's about whether or not they're able to maintain that kind of performance and get through But in the meantime, Brendan Kyer, bro, another team who's massively stepped up here, on stage with 7 for a quick little interview.
Welcome back to a quick interview with the 7WG, and I'm joined alongside Analyst from Regnum Kyer, bro. Let's talk about survival stage real quick as we're going to be going into Erangel. You guys did end up doing really good on day 1 of your survival stage. On day 2, though, you guys struggled in Erangel. What happened?
Valla şimdi Survival'ın ilk gününde Erengel'de çok iyi oynadınız. İkinci günde biraz yavaşlama gördük. Neden?
Yani ilk gün garantilediğimiz için ilk 3 maçtan sonra ikinci günü çok fazla ciddiye almadık.
Follow my ball.
Last chance.
Second day.
That's the answer.
Taking a bit of a breather. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Now, in the next 2 days, we're only going to have 4 matches here in Last Chance, especially for Erangel. What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge?
Valla son 2 günde Last Chance'ın 12 maçımız kaldı.
DX, DK. Takımların hepsi güçlü aslında. Hepsi zorluk çıkaracaklar. Takımlar zorluk çıkaracaklar diye düşünüyorum.
DX, next and actually all the play have everybody can be a problem for
run on take team side aggressive consistent aggressive aggressive consistent right
honestly, I feel like
probably
just end up saying every team.
Don't
that they have to watch out for here. I mean, Xavier, he pointed them out. I think this was recorded probably before the first match was done, but like after watching that, I don't know if Xavier's ever really gonna don't adapt. I mean, honestly, to be fair, we're kind of focused on them because they lost the hot drop. If Stalwart lost the hot drop, at Stalwart. But to be honest, both those teams
I would be fine with Stalwart because it's we've done CSA.
Oh my God.
It's not the it's not jump it's not jump king
Leave a hot drop?
I don't BG Margaret king ace to go maybe
first season of the year.
I do
IHC lost a majority of the drops and they kept dropping.
it's never king
But yeah,
Giving it up. They're not giving it up. It's on Xavier to change it. Just like in Picardo, same thing. That of course they didn't qualify, unfortunately, but like I think the Stalwart will never have moving it. But it's fine. We're going on to Erangel now. No, a little bit more typical on Erangel.
Yeah, as a series, a lot of shop, no? Shop like that.
Choose out all the teams if he could, all the players, their subs at this point. You never know what's gonna happen. So I mean,
ဟုတ်တယ်ဒါတို့အေးငါတို့စီရအတင်းဆိုလို့ VD နဲ့ TH ရဲ့ PTR ရဲ့ဒီသုံးသင်းပဲကြံတာလား
As we head into Erangel here, obviously again the group
တင်းတော့တက်မှာ
changed from the last couple of days.
အုံးလေးတော့တက်သွားရင်ကောင်းတာပေါ့
Standard 16 teams.
ဂျီကတက်သွားပြီလားဗျာတက်သွားပြီ bro အိမ်ပေါ်တက်သွားတော့
You mentioned before Max, or is it when it comes to rotations or potential clashes anywhere?
No, I think
ကြာရောတော်ရင်ဟုတ်တယ်ကြောင့် pick ကိစ္စလေးလုပ်နေလို့ပါကျွန်တော်
going into a
မင်္ဂ
rank
လာပါတင်းလေးကကောင်တွေ 1/3 တွေလောက်ကုန်တာလေခဏ
going in promotes because of course as we know Vampire is not
လုပ်နေ
here
ကြ
anymore,
ပြီ
so
နော်
that's quite
တကယ်ရိုက်နေကြပြီဘလို့ဆော့အထာတိနေဗျာနေ့ရက်တည်းဆော့ရတဲ့အထာလေးကိုတိနေကလေးတွေကကလေးတွေက
because that is a drop that can really hint their chances,
အဲ့
especially
ဆော့ဆော့ထားရတော့လည်းနောက်ဆုံးထိမကြည့်နိုင်ဘူးဗျာကိုတော်ရင် final ကျမှစုံးလေးကြည့်မယ်ဗျာကောင်းတယ်ဗျာ final မှာကြည့်အဆိုလဲရတဲ့လောက်ကြည့်မိတဲ့လောက်ပဲကြည့်အဲ့တူကြည့် final ကျမှ share ပေး
on Erangel. Yeah. You know, so like now they're
အဲ့
gonna have to
ပန်းဖြည့်နေဟုတ်လားဒါကြီးတော့ငါတို့ကအပန်းဖြည့်နေအဲ့တော့ e-sport ပွဲကြီးကြည့်ပြီးစိတ်ပန်းဖြည့်ဟောပြောချင်တာပြောအားချောင်းချင်တာအားချောင်းလို့ရတယ်နော် okay
too worried about it
ပေါ်ကြီးမဲ့လုပ်လို့ရတာဒါကြီးတော့မင်းတို့လုပ်လို့မရ
and when Donkey's going to
အတော်ကြီးမဲ့လုပ်လို့ရဒါကြီးတော့လုပ်လို့မရဒါကြီးတော့လုပ်ဖို့လုပ်လို့မရ hello whiskey
like a real southern playing path where they kind of have no choice and but
ညကဘာစုဘူးထက်ခွဲရညလိုက်ဆွင်းတော့မှ Facebook ကဖြုတ်ကြသွားပါလေဆိုဒီအဲ့ဒီညင်းနေတာ
they're able to kind of get that fixed.
Roger ပဲရောက် Roger ဒီနေ့က PMGC မတက်ဘူးဗျ
Well, we do only have a few seconds left.
နောက်ကြရပဲရေဟုတ်တယ်နောက်ကြသွားတယ်တော့လုတ်ပြီးရှုပ်နေလို့ဗျာတပွဲနောက်ကြ sorry ဗျာ
But I do want to ask for some predictions as we head into our first Erangel. Who do you think's taking this first chicken dinner, Jukes?
I'm gonna go with Xavier. They land Pachinki, dead center. They need it.
All right. What about you, Max, man?
I'm going to go IWNRX. They've been way too silent even during the survival stage, Jason. They need to do something, and it's going to happen this match.
All right, well, IWNRX probably not winning now since Max. Actually, to be fair, your curse hasn't really been relevant this event. Let's actually head into our first Erangel. You guys, of course, to the chat. Let us know who you think's going to take the first chicken dinner on Erangel, as John Allen and Blank will take us in.
I can't believe that Jason called Maxman irrelevant just there. You're relevant to me, Max. Don't worry. I got your back, buddy. We're going to be hopping on into our first Erangel.
ကျွန်တော်မင်္ဂလာပါဒါတော့24ကျော် PMGC ကျော်လက်ချန်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်မနေ့ survival ပြီးသွားပြီဒီနေ့ကျော်လက်ချန်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်เนาะအာမမေ့နဲ့နှစ်ရက်တည်းကြည့်ရမယ်ဒီနေ့နဲ့မနက်ဖြန်ပဲရှိမှာလာကြရတော့ Okay Okay here we go again ပါเนาะဒီနေ့ကကျွန်တော် day 2မဟုတ်ပါဘူး day 1ရှုပ်ကုန်ပြီ day 1 game 2ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ Okay let's go Erangel ပါလက်ချန်ဆိုတာအရင်နှစ်ကနဲ့ရှင်လက်ချန်နှစ်တိုင်းကျန်းတယ်ကျန်းတယ်ဆိုဇုံလဲကျန်းတယ်လာပြီလားဇုံလဲကျန်းတယ်အတင်းလဲကျန်းတယ်
Yeah, I was going to say that
တိုက်တို့ဒီနေ့ပွဲကြည့်ရအချိန်ကုန်ခံပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီပွဲလေးကိုစိတ်အပန်းဖြည့်ရဆိုတော့တိုက်တို့ဒီနေ့
For sure. No, Jason, 100%.
တန်ဝိုင်းလို့မှတ်လိုက်တော့ဟာလားဒီနေ့ကောင်းတယ်ဒီပွဲလေးဟုတ်လားပြက်ကောင်းတဲ့ပွဲလေးမရှိတော့လေဟလာဒီနေ့မှဒီပွဲပဲရှိတော့
4x at PMGC, John. We applaud you for
I
that.
don't think that happened, actually. I think you're making things up. I think you're...
Exactly.
ဒီကောင်းလေးပြတ်ပြီပါတဲ့ပွဲမချစ်ဖြစ်တာကြားလို့ပါတဲ့
I thought
ဘယ်ဘယ်ဒီမန်နာနဲ့ပြတယ် final တက်3တင်းလောက်
IWNRX.
Fair
Oh,
goal.
no, that was the bit, actually.
Fair goal.
You're right. No, I cancelled the bit. And then
Fair goal,
I cancelled
TK.
the bit. On the west side, IWNRX
7-7,
a little bit
DH.
of trouble. So has Maxman's curse come back to roost?
BN.
Or is it the Hot Juke's curse? Because DX
4-1 လေရွေးလို့ရ MFG 4-1 we
Xavier struggling off that
Sorry
last
about
match
BDR.
a little bit.
Yeah, but-
Versus Stalwart. This time around, they're going to be trying to get some more points on the board because I think they're one of the few teams that really did not
PMGC
get
မှာဝီဝီနေတာရုံးကန်ရဘယ်လိုမြင်လဲကိုတော်ရေး
IWNRX, Max is calling them out, saying they're a
ဘယ်
little
လိုမြင်လဲ
quiet.
ဆိုတော့
I
ဒီ
agree,
ထက်ကောင်းတဲ့
they're definitely
analyst တွေ
quiet.
ခေါ်ဖို့လိုတာပေါ့တိုက်
There's certainly more to
သူတို့
be
လည်း
done
မန်လေးတွေ
for
ချပြီးတော့
IWNRX, and they
PMGC
looked
ကို
like they were doing a lot better
ဒီချဆော့ဖို့လိုတာ
last portion.
ဝီဝီကကန့်မှာတော့မနေပါဘူးညာရှင်းရှင်းပြော
I do think for
အဲ့လိုလည်းပြောလို့မရဘူး
IWNRX though,
သူတို့
that play
သူတို့
that they
တူ
made
တူတော့
up
မနေ
towards
ပါ
the
ဘူး
end
တကယ်တမ်း
wasn't
ဆို
bad, but then they evaporated. Sandhawk, and I wasn't exactly sure
ကို
what
အိမ်မှာကိုပဲနေ
happened there.
ကိုကို
But
လို
yeah,
မှာ
no
ကိုပဲ
one really pulling
ဖိနာတော့
ahead.
ကိုအိမ်မှာကိုပဲ train နေကောင်းတယ်တယောက်တည်းနေရ
However,
ပြီ
we will have a little
I'm on it.
interview with
ဒါ
Seven.
တော့ဖလက်ပြောမှသိ
He
တယ်
is to be about
ဖလက်ပြောလို့ကိုလည်းမသိ
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. This one's going to be in regards to STE. They were able to hot drop DX successfully. I got a chance to talk to their players, and they were
လိုက်မ
expecting
ပါဘူးဒါရွ
to do that
ဟို
hot
တ
drop
ကယ်
there. They
World
did
State
mention
Championship
that they're
ကို
not going to have to worry about any more hot
Okay.
drops. In the previous
တုံးချင်တဲ့
stage,
တင်း
they
တို့
were having to hot
T
drop
reps
with Face. Now that Face is not here,
မြ
they
င်
don't
ပါ
have to worry about it.
review
We'll see if they will
တကယ်
hot
ပြော
drop
တကယ်
again
မနာ
tomorrow in Sandhawk.
အဲ့လိုအတင်းမြင်လိုက်ဝီရှာ
We're only going to have one chance to do it as well, but it's something that we thought maybe we could see. And the
fact that we towards feeling miss offline
hasn't got too much ammo left though. Only 10 rounds
champion
in the
pitching
back.
ရုပ်လား
11 now.
ဟမ်ဒီကောင်တွေကပါလဲမွေဖားလားကြက်ဖားလားဆိုရင်အဲ့လိုကြည့်လို့ရတယ်ရုပ်တည်ရ MFG ကကောင်လေးဆိုကြည့်လိုက် MFG ကောင်လေး UVB ကကောင်လေးရှင်းကြည့်ကွာမတူဘူးကွာတဲ့
classic for them over survival stage losing one player extremely early
နည်းနည်းပါမျက်နှာလေးကြည့်ရ
prepared very well coming into last
ကိုအားပေးတဲ့အတင်းတွေဆိုလို့ကောင်လေးမျက်နှာလေးကြည့်တယ်ဖြစ်ချင်နေရလေဒီကောင်လေး
so Uriel was put in for his big debut
ရှုပ်ကို
and it was cut short very quickly
yeah grand final ရောက်မှပြုတ်မှာ
Angelic on that one. It was
ပဒနေတက်6တင်းမတက်မှာဘယ်လိုထိတ်ဆုံးမှာမြင်းလေးတားတာတော့ဖြူအောင်လေးတားတာမှတ်တာပွဲကြည့်မှတ်တာဒီလိုကျွန်တော်တို့လက်ချက်လို့ဒီလိုဟို group stage တို့ league တို့မှာဆိုရင်တို့တကယ်ဒီနေ့တက်မယ်ဒီ2ရက်ဆော့ရင်ဒီ3ရက်ဆော့ရင်ဘယ်နှတင်းတက်မှာတော့မြင်းလေးတားတာဇရာပြီးနာမှာတော့အောက်မှာမြင်း6မှာ6အောက်မှာမြင်းအဲ့လိုမြင်းတားတာအဲ့ဒါ6တင်းတက်မှတ်တာဘယ်နောက်မှာမေးနေတော့
able to get the tag onto Hoxie. And then the pick up on the bike getting a roll over to catch more is excellent. Really nice stuff.
Phải con tao cái này á phải con
took him back out again though.
Yeah, phải con chạy kia mà thao này kia nó hậu viện.
They were like, this is not working. We're sorry, Uriel, you're out. And that's kind of hard to do, especially when you give a player a chance.
You know, phải con.
Be like,
chào wale, yeah, gambit.
It's not.
Chào wale, yeah, make taste only gambit.
Back on the bench.
Love the ý lùa, đi cái nào nó sát tàu PMGC bị đuổi cái anh em bảo biết tao đấy rồi, chào ai, yang cam bắt buộc sinh anh, tao quên nó biển này, anh tao quên sát câu này, tao quên ra đây rồi, câu nhưng mà tao quên nó biển câu à, cái lục, performance, consistentဖြစ်တယ်ဟာအတင်းနေနေတနေ့ကြာလာအဲ့ကတော့ဒီနေ့ပဲတော့ကြည့်ရ
maybe has one or two teams that people would have predicted before this survival stage. And Falcons, probably two teams that were in the conversation. Within Cilio's final days, you might have added them in as well. But I think overall, it's a little bit unexpected in terms of the top 6. But this is only off one game.
Okay, và rồi lên cho RCB. Đây là còn scout đến liêu là rồi xí còn nó lay lò này. Rồi đó là. Ship đi là sao bây giờ bị lay ai vậy phải? Scout đến lâu rồi đủ đi. Đi lại lúc bao hết rồi nó scout. Ali vậy, soi về stay qua mấy gì đi. Don't know I'm training.
A wheel in the vehicle. They're just careening off into the distance. So we'll see what they can do about their driver.
I can't believe it's only hot there. In the chicken salad.
Last game, I felt like there was a lot of opportunities afforded to Loops, and they just weren't able to get anything off the back of it. Over towards Paris Resort. Down, take a fight with Soul with Falcons, not Soul. And even that was helped out by Team Liquid.
They won't let sorry cái được. Tên này tên này chia cái game. Tiếng Anh overall 16 tiền chia. Với đầu so với số. Focus lâu rồi. Tiếng Anh cũng là focus lâu. Consistent phía là focus câu luôn. Cái mà luôn nha. Ở xích thì cao này mà. Là anh passion phía bị rồi. Alo à này xích thì xích tụ cụ này sau nhé. Biểu này mà solo cao. Solo ya. Biết luôn là cao. Thôi. Yeah, I see him. The game is doing. Hello, I would GP the better now. I better not take it.
Could be quite important. The slow on the roll up. Does he handle it?
Is it not how to lay? I don't know. Saudi way, yo, baby, yo, no. So Saudi ma shuffle way, yeah, baby, yeah.
This is the
second the main way to figure.
A hot drop, sure, you can excuse, but a roll up like this, not protected against, losing 2. This is disaster.
Chavi, Ali by sauce is even 7-7 or I'll D time, eh? Let's survive with my someone poke behind the demo, no? Our stadium, someone don't need it. Out them if I die. I could so Ali by DH school at the compound, the ground with that below it or town shot. Not Chavi, not so Levite the comment channel. Yeah. Or the Xavier, so see, I think didn't blue pin, so a matter of 0 point, 1 point. Oh, yeah, like it on Mr. Bright.
Okay.
Oh.
That goes the way of
Alibaba jo first
so,
rival တင်းနေနဲ့ GA ရ
south,
ဖြစ်သွားပြီတာကြီး
IWN
တို့ကြီး
peeking in from the
ဘူး
north
ဆိုလို့မရ
and
ဘူး
for the
နော်
second time in a row. The first place team from the survival stage goes out first.
Losing 2 of your matches, honestly, John, I don't want to call it too early, but like
reaction လေးနေပြီပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော် Facebook ကလူတွေရောကျွန်တော်ဒီဖက်ကျွန်တော် YouTube က
to get into
share လေးလုပ်ပြီးပြောမိတယ် share လေး share လေး
important. Going out on both those games on 1 point and 0 point, that's even more dangerous. So for DXavier, they pretty much need to have
လက်
very
ကြီးတယ်လက်ချက်နဲ့ကြီးတယ်တာကြီးတို့ပဲ state 2တဲ့ကောင်းတယ်လက်ချက်
to
နဲ့
be
ကြီး
in
တယ်
a nice position going into tomorrow.
We were looking. Sorry, you go.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, like that little bit there, losing both those games really poorly stunts you so badly.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. Right? Before top 16, we were looking at around a 60-point bubble. It ended up being, I think, towards 50, was it 55? I think was the bubble spot there.
TAG ကတီးသွားတယ်ရောရှင်းမပြပါဘူး
Is it going to be okay? He's got friends. They got to circle around. Doesn't need it though. Just heads right in there. Anyway, 60 points was around the bubble for the survival stage, but in this last chance, that bubble pushes up to around the 80-point mark. There is a bit of volatility there, but in general, we were thinking of a 60-point tournament being 4 to 5 solid games. Now you're looking at needing 7 solid games, and in a 12-match set, it is really tough. So when you take the first 2 out of them. From here on out, it does need to be a flawless run.
ဒီနေ့မနေ့နေ့ရပဲကြည့်ရဒီနေ့ပြန်တော့ပွဲမရှိတော့နောက်လာတယ်နောက်လာ6ရက်နေမှာရှိ Okay ပွဲတော့ရှိရကြားပွဲတော့ရှိတော်ရင်ကုန်းပွဲလေအဲ့ပွဲရောရှိရနော်ဒါကြည့်နော်လာကြည့်စိတ်ဆိုးပြီနော် final ခိုးပြီးလွင့်မှာ
They need to profit 1 less than that, but that was still a team that dropped into 2nd place, by the way, in survival stage. So yeah, for DXavier,
အဲ့တော့ဆုံးရွှေ့ရတယ်တော်တော်များတယ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် prison ground တွေမှာထပ်ပြီးတော့တိုးလာပြန်ပြီကျွန်တော် CRP မှာဆိုတော့ Turkey team ထပ်ပြီးတော့ Weezy နဲ့ compound ကျွန်တော်တိုက်သွားတယ် straight 2မှာဆိုတော့ဒီဘက်တွေကအပြက်ပုံစံမျိုးလောက်ထိတော့ဖြစ်သွားဖို့ chance တော်တော်လေးများဝိုင်းလို့ပဲပြောရင်းနဲ့ပဲ position တွေကျွန်တော်ဒီရဲ့ cover တွေပို့ပြီးတာနေရတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီရဲ့ RCB ကပဲပို့ပြီးတော့မတာဘူး Weezy ကပို့သားတယ်လက်ရှိ 1-1 ကျွန်တော်ပြန်ပြီး not ထားတည် RCB က2ယောက်ပဲကြံတော့မယ်ဗျ3 versus 4မှာဆိုရင်လက်ရှိ3 versus 2
Make this corner work.
ကွက်တီပဲရအဲ့နေကအော်ယုံကြီး
They're doing bits for survival.
Oh, that's so sad.
The first aid went through there. That is really not great. But RCB do still force another heal to come on through. Wild puts another nade on the same corner, but he's out of there.
ဟိုမှာ N7 လေးဖောက်ထားတာပူပူနွေ့နွေ့ပဲရှိသေးတယ်ဒါရေထမင်းနဲ့ရေဖြစ်နေတယ်ကမဖောက်နိုင်ဘူး
They got a 3rd place on that last.
အဲ့လိုစရိုက်ဖောက်နိုင်အောင်ငါချမ်းသာအောင်စူးစမ်းလိုက်အောင်ပဲကွာ
We have now got the
များလိုမျိုးလေ
compound.
စကင်တစ်ထွက်အကုန်ဖောက်စကင်တစ်ထွက်အကုန်ဖောက်နိုင်အောင်စူးစမ်းလိုက်အောင်မတိုက်တယ်
buildings. The nade goes high over the side there. That's not going to catch.
Yeah, hella unfortunate for RCB. The first nade
Yep,
taken,
yeah, right, never
fell
lost
down
your
to
4 versus
10%.
3.
They managed to at least get the DBS off from the back of it. That's a nice Molotov.
ကောင်းတယ်ဒီနေ့က shot ပစ်လိုက်တာ
But
let's go
also,
here we go
second nade
You need to push.
not quite clipping out
Okay
the
ကော
first
င်းတယ်
aid kit.
ကျွန်တော်
That could have been
break
easy 2 knocks, and then that was very workable for RCB.
free fire လေး
Unfortunate
ဟုတ်တယ်
how breaks down.
RCB လည်းထပ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ပြတ်သွားရပြီဖြစ်ပါပြီ
The
ဒါကလေးလည်းကျွန်တော် straight 3ကျွန်တော်ဒီ fan ဖက်ဒီ ground ဖက်ပေးတာဒီ fan ဖက် fan တော့မရှိတော့ဘူးမရှိဘူးเนาะတော်ထူးဆန်းတယ်ဆိုတော့ဒီနေ့အသေးနေနေနဲ့ mid ကိုပဲအဓိကထိုးဆော့နေကြတာပေါ့နော်အဓိက level ထိုးအလဲထိုးအဲ့လိုပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုအကွက်လေးနဲ့ဆော့နေကြတယ်
Very different story.
Bruh.
I genuinely think RCB gets very unlucky on those nades.
ဒီလိုစုံနေမှာတော့ဘယ်သူပပနဲ့ဆော့ပြမယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော် PK နဲ့
You pretty much
PK ကိုပဲကြည့်ရတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါ
a
တယ်
minute
break
grace
down
period inside of Alamo, especially on the defending team, get a couple of those initial knocks, and they just were not prepared for the Vicious moving in. So it's a good pickup from the Vicious.
ရတဲ့နေ့ပြုတ်တာပြောလိုက်ကိုတော့ကိုတော့တွေ PSC အတင်းနေတော့ပေါင်းဝင်ထင်တယ်စီးတက်တဲ့အတင်းနဲ့မနေဘူးလေ
to be holding first and second
am
place,
that
but there you go.
that day, mama.
Mongolia having a good representation.
Me
so
wonder
far
that
for
day.
Falcons and 4MV.
ဘယ်မှာမှစပါပဲတော့မဆော့တင်တာ
4MV's
ပါ
approach to that south side is probably the most impressive part of what I saw on Sandhawk.
Okay,
not the most impressive part. That was obviously the 1v3 from Team Liquid, doing so much. Was smart. They played that south side. They held out around that win this one. We're just going to get the points for this game. And that's what I'm talking about. In terms of those averages, that is going to be wonders for them. They might have just tried to one elimination and 2 placement points. It would have been a 3-point match. Right? And you got 5 more points out of that.
I cook နေပြီတော့ရောက်ရင်တိုက်တော့ IF က cook နေပြီတော့လုံနေပြီနော်ပွဲဝင်ပြီးတော့ထားတယ်ဒီမှာတော့ back ကတော့မလာသေးတကောင်နဲ့ဆွအောင်နေရဗျ Okay ခေါင်းလေးပြန်ကောက်တော့ဒေါတစ်ကောင်တော့တော်တော်မဲ့သွားပြီဟဲ့နိုင်နဲ့ကွတ်တီဒါလုံးဝတင်းဝဆိုအဲ့ဒါဟာလာတိုင်းဆိုဟာလုံးဝ right time ပဲဟဲ့တိုင်းငါခေါင်းလေး damage ပေးတာနေလေးကွတ်တီပဲဖတ်ပြီးသွားတော့တကောင်တော့တော့ပွဲဝင်နေဒီနောက်မှာလူကွဲနေတယ်လို့ ready လည်းမဖြစ်ဘူးနှစ်ယောက်လည်း not သွားပြီ8 back တို့လည်းဒီနောက်မှာ cover အရင်နဲနေတဲ့ position ကြားမှာလေဒီမှာဆိုတော့ IF တွေ down shot pressure လိုက်ပြီးနေနေမယ်နောက်တစ်ယောက်ထပ်ပြီး not သွား LS တဲ့အဲ့နောက်မှာမလွတ်တော့လို့ပြောနေမှာတဲတယ်ပဲတပ်ပြီးတော့ကျုံနေကြပြီဗျာဒါကြီးတော့ချိုးလိုက် IF က aggressive ဖြစ်တာကိုချိုးလိုက်
I do think they should have dipped there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth it taking this fight. Especially when you already know a team is up towards Lumberyard already.
ဒီတော့ဘာအခက်ကအတင်းနေဘောဘဘအတင်းနေတာအဲ့ကချစ္စတန်ဖက်ဒီပလီယာတော်တော်ကြီးကိုပတ်ပြီးပါဆောင်းကြလာတော့တာတီတာ
frustrating stuff there for MV. Maybe they can get one off the back here, but
okay ထပ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် 4MV လဲဒီပွဲလဲကျွန်တော်0 point နဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်ပျောက်ဆုံးသွားရရင်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်နော်လက်ချန်ဒီနက်ကြီးရတော့တာရလက်ချန်ကနက်ကြီးရတော့ဝါရှုပ်လို့မရအောင်တော့လားဦးရှူအောင်မလုပ်နဲ့တော့အကုန်တက်ကုန်မယ်နော်အဲ့ဒါကြီးအချိန်ကောင်းတယ် Major Bright compound နှစ်ခုကို2 separator ပါတော့အောင်ရမ်းမိုက်တယ်ဆိုတော့ ACC ပဲ၄ယောက်လုံးစုပြီးဆော့ရုံပဲဒါကလေးကျွန်တော် mid game ရောက်လာပြီကျွန်တော်ဒီမှာဆိုတော့ဒါက stage 4 တီဗီလေးဆက်ပြီးတော့တိုးရမယ်လမ်းကြောင်းမှာဆိုရင်လည်းရှေ့ဆုံးမှာလည်းကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်ချမ်း diesel တော့လိုက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် VC တော့ fresher ပြီးနေဗျလို့တော့မလိုအပ်တော့ဘောနော် zone ပဲဆက်ပြီးတွားတာပို့ပြီးတော့ကောင်းမယ်လို့ပဲကျွန်တော်ပြောရမယ်ဗျ
fifth place would be fantastic and that would have been fairly simple to do from the position that they were in as 3 players. It's so
annoying. No need. Hello.
I mean, this is the thing, right? We talk so much about game-winning plays, about plays that put you in a great position to win the match, to get to those final circles. And in general, and I mean, we've been highlighting a lot more here at this PMGC, but we don't really focus on the points earning game, which is really what you want.
Chicken dinner,
if you're already out earning on points, you don't need that tiebreaker. More teams need to be putting that approach into their playbook. And sure, you do need the capability to take those chicken dinners opportunities when they're presented to you. Consistent points, and points is the only way that you qualify towards these top 6 positions. Wanting to rack up a couple of the vicious, but they've been on the warpath so far. May give them cause for concern.
Stalwart going off over towards BTR. Bruno's in D+. A very nice run of it.
Not the thing 7 ပါလားဆိုတော့နောက်တစ်တင်းကန်ဆမ်းမဲ့ပဲတိုင်းပဲ 4MV တော့မထည့်တာ
He got that first aid. He got the first aid off. He was super low, but managed to heal just in time for the nade not to quite explode. Not going to seemingly matter because the roll down just continues.
တီကီရတော့ VC လက်ထပ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ဖြုတ်ချပြလိုက်ဖြုတ်ချလိုက်တော့တယ် VC တွေကျွန်တော်ဒီပွဲလဲကျွန်တော်၄ကောင်းနဲ့ပဲပြတ်သွားပြီတော့ fair ကောင်8ကောင်းနဲ့ထပ်မှန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်နောက်သွားပြီး7နဲ့တော့ထိတ်တိုက်တွေးနေတဲ့ fair ကောင်တွေကြားတော့ညက်နေပြီဒီမှာလဲတစ်ယောက်အရှိမလဲ2ယောက်2 1ဂျာညက်ပြီးတော့ပဲကျွန်တော်အဖြတ်ခံရမလားပဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့ fair ကောင်
I mean he's knocked so not great
back on
forwards they take down more of 77 there will just be one last player alive there's Zadira off in the distance
Okay ဗတ်တဲ့အသားရနေပြီးတော့ဗတ်တဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ free တော့မယ်ကျွန်တော်77မှဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျကျွန်တော် top တစ်ကောင်နဲ့ပေါ်တော့ဟောက်နာလေးကနေပဲ cover နဲ့ပဲတော်တော်လေးလုတ်ပြီးသွားတော့ပဲပြောမယ်ကျွန်တော် fair ကောင်နဲ့2ယောက်တော့ကျွန်တော်ပြီးလိုက်ရတယ်7 3ယောက်ပြန်ရတာလို့ပြောတယ်7လေးနောက်ဆုံး1 level ကျန်ပြပြန်တော့ပတ်သွားရောနော် fair ကောင်နဲ့ကျွန်တော် IC1 ဒီမှာတော့ top 2ယောက်ကျွန်တော်ကြောင်းမယ်ဗျဒီကလေးစပြီးတော့ဒီဘက် side ကိုတိုးလာနေတူထပ်ပြီးတော့နောက်တစ်ပတ်တဲ့တစ်ခုကျွန်တော်ဒီ Mongolia တင်းကျွန်တော် ST နဲ့ထပ်မှန်ပြီးတော့ပဲကျွန်တော် side တော့ side နေရပြီနောက်တစ်တင်း Lucia ဒီ side ပုံစံတိုင်းပဲ quarter half ကိုဝင်ပြီးတော့ join ဖို့သိရတဲ့လောက်ပဲကျွန်တော်စပြီးတော့တိုးလာကြပြီဗျဆိုတော့ Happy New Year ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီမှာဆိုကျွန်တော် shotgun အနေနဲ့ပဲတောက်လျှောက် ကျုံးနေတဲ့ဂျားထဲမှာနှုတ်ဘူးကို DJ ရောနှစ်ကောင်လုံးမောက်ရော့အမကိုရီးယား shotgun ရော့မရဘူးပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်ဘလာစီရဲ့ shotgun ပိုကောင်းနေရတယ်
D plus will go out
တော့တဲပဲဝင်ပြီးတော့ဖြုတ်ထားတာပေါ့နော်ဒါကတော့ကျွန်တော် TK ကိုတပ်ပါတီဝင်ပေးတဲ့ကျွန်တော် loop တွေကတော့တကယ်အေးတော့ရသွားပြီ ISD
you just came off of a very good
fight strong တကောင်လေးရောငါးကောင်လေးရောဒီလိုမျိုးကြည့်အောင်ထိန်းဦးတော့ရော
He was doing so much
တကယ်တတ်တော့မှာတော့ဒီပုံစံတိုင်းကိုတတ်တယ်နော်လေ6ကင်းမြောက်တယ် IS ကိုထည့်လိုက်တော့သွားလိုက်
You can see they've got that south outpost, and with this circle shift going,
Major Pride
that's going to help. The wide 2-2 split for Major Pride. It looks like they want to really
ဆောင်းရလာနေတဲ့ကြောင့် Major Pride ရဲ့ဒီဘက်မှာ chicken ကိုတကယ် try နေပြီ direct လက်ရှိ point နေတယ်1 point မရတာခဏကစားတော့မှလေကျွန်တော်အမှတ်မရတာတဲ့အတင်းပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ဒီတပွဲလေးတော့ပြန်ပြီး camp လိုက်လာကြရှင် Major Pride တော်တော်ကန်ကောင်းတဲ့အထဲမှာပါတယ်တဲ့လားတော်တော်ဒီများပွဲကိုကျွန်တော်ပြန်ကြည့်ရလေ Major Pride ကိုပြန်ကြည့်ရလေဒီကောင်ကန်ကောင်းတာများဆောင်းကန်ကောင်းတယ်ဗျဇုံနေလည်းတော်တော်ရ
doing fantastically well versus Falcons might
back
up there from Becker. I mean for Major Pride, this four-way down towards the south side is not a terrible idea.
Okay, lot of top corner ပဲ commander နဲ့တော့ပြန်တော့ကျွန်တော်အပြင်ကဝင်လာတဲ့ Major Pride ကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် damage တော့ပေးနေတယ်။တော့တူ separate ထားတဲ့ Major Pride ကလက်ကပဲရောက်လာတယ်နှစ်ယောက်တည်းပဲရအောင် team လားဆိုတာပဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရပဲ။စာကေနေတဲ့ဒီ state ကိုတော့
I think it's a good thing that Evo Station and Elementrix are on the other side of the road.
ကိုယ်စကားများတယ်ကနေတလုံးပေးလိုက်မယ်ရအောင်။ပြီးသွားပြီနော် Falcon လည်းကျွန်တော် 3K run point တော့ကျွန်တော်မရဘူး။ဒီမှာဆိုလည်းကျွန်တော် loop တွေတယောက်တော့ကျွန်တော်မောက်နေပြီ IF တဲ့ဒီအပေါ် ground နေပဲအကုန်လုံးကျွန်တော် site တွေ control လုပ်ထားတဲ့ဂျားထဲမှာတော့ loop တွေကတော့ဒီဆိုဝင်ရအရင်ခတ်သွားပြီဗျ
7 points found on the game
လိုကြီးတော့
way to convert off of a chicken dinner finding 17 points on a match
oh my god
now they put up a brilliant
ရောက်ရေးတပ်ပြီးတင်တယ်ရောက် IF ကတိကျရတော့တိုက်လို့
again it's just going to keep them
ရှစ်ကောင်တော့ဒီဝဲလေခုနလည်း chicken
right now they are the most impressive team in the lobby in terms of those point scorings. The first game, they got the circle. This time, not so much, but they're playing it smart again. And it's something we praised in Cilio for repeatedly, is their macro approach to these circles. They may not stand up in terms of that minutiae skill to take those fights. Even if they can get outclassed sometimes, still 40% of the time that they're winning, they themselves so many teams.
Yeah, I mean, that mechanical skill actually has elevated a lot over the past few days. I was surprised to see it. I think that, it's what I will keep referring to is that it's a team that there's nothing extremely special about them. Like, there's no player top 5 winner on that score. Or this specific thing that they do, like Mirror and Sage.
Top fighter, champion man.
But it is just good, clean PUBG mobile gameplay.
Mongolia တင်မဲ့ပြောနေ PMGC ရပါ
I would be happy to say that
ဒီကLambo တို့ကိုကောင်းနေ Nike တို့ Levi တို့ကောင်းနေတယ်အယိုးဆွေးနေတေတော့မယ်ဆော့တာ
during PMGC groups
အဲ့လိုလေရှိတယ်ဟုတ်လားတူတူပဲနားတင်းနေတဲ့မှာဒီကောင်းလေးလည်းပါတယ်
a little bit less of a strong factor coming into it will suddenly have a huge step up because they'll have had so much good experience against these squads, and for a team that's getting deep into every single lobby, they have now hours of practice against the best teams in the world, and that can really send a team to the moon.
And we're seeing it here. They've
နေတော့ပဲဆိုရင်တော့မေဂျာလမ်းပေါ်ပဲဟုတ်ကဲ့လမ်းပေါ်ပဲပြီးတာလို့ chapter တွေလည်းအားလုံးပါနေတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဆင်ပြေနေတယ်ကျွန်တော် liquid တို့ဒီမှာ IS ကို ice ကိုတော့စပြီးတော့
fortunately now the
ချနေတယ်
they are going to have to go
အရင်တော့ကြာလို့မရဘူးပေါ့နော်ဒီနားချတာတွေကကြာတော့
taking on the fight, but they've already got the value from this game that they need, so they can just take
this risk. I have side for the challenge. Setပြီးတော့ soft ရတာတည်းပေါ့နော်ရှက်တာအတင်းနဲ့လှုပ်ရှုပ်နေကြလို့တို့တွေကကာပါရတဲ့လောက်တော့ရတာလို့ပဲပြောရမယ်ရှိ line နေနဲ့ full man ကြော်ကြံနေတယ်ဒီချမ်းမဆိုလဲကြော် MFJ တွေကူတွေကနေတော့စပြီးတော့ tough တော့လောက်နေတော့ liquid တွေဟိုဘက်ချမ်းမ better side လို့ပြရတဲ့ဒီဘက်တော့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ rotate လုပ်လာလို့ပဲပြောရမယ်ဗျအဲ့ကိုဆိုင်ပြီးတော့လည်းခတ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီဘက်ရှေ့ ground ကျွန်တော်ရှေ့မှာလည်းတင်းနေရှိတော့လေ info တော့စာပြီးပေးနေပြီလက်ရှိကျွန်တော်တင်း liquid တွေဘယ်ကိုရွေးချယ်မှာလဲတနေရာမို့တနေရာတော့ fight ရတော့မယ်အချိန်တော့စောင့်နေအချိန်တော့ရနေသေးရပေါ့နော်အတင်းမှာကျွန်တော်စိတ်ရှိတီးခံလမ်းကြောင်းမှန်ဆိုတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲအတင်းတွေအားလုံး better စပြီးဖွင့်တဲ့ချိန်ကြမှာပဲဝင်လုံးတာလေပို့ပြီးတော့လေကောင်းသေးရပေါ့နော်ဒါမျိုးအစုံလေးစောင့်တာလေဆိုကောင်းတယ်မဆိုးဘူးတော့ major break တော့ကောင်းတော့လမ်းတော့ knock ခံလိုက်ရပြီကျွန်တော်ပြဿနာတော့မရှိဘူး ACC ပြန်ပြီး trainer လို့ရသေးတယ်ဆို IF တယောက်ပြန်ပြီးတော့ knock သွားတော့ဒီဘက်အပေါ် ground မှာဆိုရင် major bright နဲ့ကျွန်တော် IS က just nothing
The hills are
He
alive with the sound of 556 right now as Vexy
ဒီကိုဖြုတ်နေပြီ
keeps laying down the lore and Major Bride can't stand
ဘောနဲ့တော့အောက်ကနေလဲကြော်ပြန်ပြီးတော့ပီကာကြော်ထောက်ထားပြီးရဆိုအိုင်နဲ့လောကပေါ်တော့ဟောက်ကတ်လို့မရဘူးဒီဘက် shutter တဲ့ကိုပဲတဲပဲကြော်ဆင်းချသွားပြီပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျာ
The sky has made the weapon his own
ဒီဘက် Major Bride controlling ကြော်ပြီးတဲ့ fresher တွေကတော့တော့ရှုပ်လို့မရဘူးအကုန်လုံးပြန်တော့ကဲပြီးသွားပြီ 3G တော့တက်လာပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Again it's not easy to do
IT လဲကြော်ဒီဘက် site poser ကောင်းကောင်းပြန်ပြီးထိန်းလို့ရတဲ့ liquid တွေဘက်ကကြော်ဗရက်အဖွဲကိုလုံးဝကိုမပေးတာလုံးဝအတော့မခံတာပါနော်အဲ့ဒါကူလဲကြော် IT ကိုလဲကြော်ကောင်းနေသေးလို့ကြော်ပြောလို့ရတယ်
and so successfully too I think that's the important point to make
ကောင်းတော့တေချာဆော့နေပါနော်
he goes again
Major Bride တော့
Major Bride
အတော့လောက်ရှိနေပြီနော်
Zeta sure but Vexy just landing these
နေတဲ့ကားကြီးမုံရ
side of him that are allowing him to step up here. They have that little ridge line in front of them, but if they step up, they're keeping those smokes topped up. They'll burn quite a lot of resources, but they are.
ကားကြီးတက်ပြီးမမိုက်ပါဘူးဗျာရေပေါ်မြေပေါ်ရေပေါ်ကားကြီးရအောင်ကြည့်လို့
And we were hoping
အိမ်တစ်လုံးသားလောက်ရှိရယ်အိမ်သားတစ်လုံးသားလောက်ရှိရယ်မရဘူးကားဝါရတကူလုံးသားပြောက်တယ်
Liquid to the solo player wasn't going to bear too hard on their mental. Maybe they're able to keep that fortitude going.
Reaction လေးနေပြပါအောင်တိုက်လို့ like လေးရောက်တစ်လုံးလောက်
to be able to keep them together
အိမ်နေမှာဆိုလို့
on a difficult situation like that.
Yeah, well, we know that Defi studies this game so much, and he is a very, very smart fellow. And this is the type of smart play that you imagine is in coordination with Defi. Like, this is one of the few scenarios where you see this kind of play, and it's very impressive. You don't see a lot of PUBG Mobile teams make this kind of call, make this kind of move, because yes, they are burning through resources to do this, but then what are resources for in the first place?
It's very, very cool
for Point Donkey. You don't see a lot of plays like this in PUBG Mobile, and they are making it work specifically because they do have players with a lot of long-range potential. You don't just get good on the Mini 14 overnight. This is a player that has been specifically chosen for his long-range prowess. I love Point Donkey ID as a team. I genuinely think that the counts should be going for
By rights should have had more points from that last match.
Oh, David ထိတာတွေနော်။အော်တခါလေးမီနီနဲ့ပါတခါလေးတော့တခါလေးပါ flat တာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ် Nice
Okay, he's got a mini
ဟာချက်ပဲပြစ်တယ်တကောင်ပါတယ် Sorry ပဲနောက်တစ်လုံး
It's not all Vexy, okay. You're still pretty good as well. The nade over to Redlick.
နောက်တစ်နေတစ်လုံး
Opening for IWNRX. But again,
Not
this
at
is
the
just
low.
a unity match for Incilio. They've already put up
No,
those 8 points that
Liquid
they're going to
knows,
look for on the game. And it's a great result. So they can go for a little bit wilder of a play because they're safe in the knowledge they've
နေရပဲလားတဲ့ဒီကနေဘယ်နဲ့တင်းတက်လဲ6တင်းတက်မှာပါ1 to 6
Redlick still
I
not
need
going
that.
down. The guy's a warrior. Still, the last one, surely. What?
ကြာရဖလက်ဒီနာမှာပဲကျွန်တော်တုံးတက်သွားဖို့တော်တော်လေးများနေပါနော် Arch လည်းအရင်ဝင်ချလို့မရဘူးဘေးကနေလည်းကျွန်တော် Major Pride တွေလည်းပြန်ပြီးထောက်ထားဆိုတော့တခြား2ယောက်လောက်တော့တန်းပြီးနောက်သွားနိုင်တယ်ပါနော်
It's a very bold move, sitting up in the front here. He can always move up towards the tree, but you know, well play from Redlick, just understanding the sidelines that currently IWNRX have. They can't see over this way, so he can comfortably sit in the front line. Now he's moving up towards the tree. If they start nading the backside of the tree, I will laugh so hard.
IWNRX, they may have run dry on nades. I know Frozen doesn't have any, but they're mounting up. Redlick,
Joe me.
He's still there. Westron is still there, stepping up their sprays from the off angle. Finally, they go across. They say, you know what, nades aren't working. Let's go for the gunpowder. I Kine is down first. The spray to the back lines, and Incilio do fall. They'll get placement points too. IWNRX across the road, and Team Liquid look at a roll down the sidelines. Could they go 2 for 2 to take down Avoid Donkey ID? You've got to be kidding, because Vexy is still on the hunt. Dishing out the damage to Maxi 14. Raining hell to Team Liquid. They want their revenge.
Gone. ကျွန်တော်စီးရတဲ့ကျွန်တော် VD ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် Indonesia တင်မှာနော်ကျွန်တော်ကောင်းနေပြီတိုက်ရိုက်ဒီပွဲနဲ့
Like genuinely one of my favorite games here in the PMGC groups off this rotate from
Major Bright Aish က3ယောက်4ယောက်ကျွန်တော်စိတ်လို့ရအောင်မယ်ကျွန်တော်
WNRX like Max said they were looking a little bit
liquid လဲကျွန်တော်2ယောက်
feels like the curse is very irrelevant here
အဲ့တော့နေတော့မရတော့ဆက်ပြီးတော့တိုးလိုက်
seems a little bit of that extra strength that they might need into these circles. Now IWNRX, I don't know how far further they go versus Void Donkey ID as well as the location the Team Liquid currently hold, but it's at least a top 3 with a fair few eliminations on side.
Team Liquid, 3 eliminations.
စီတာကျွန်တော်လူထောင်ပြီးတော့ဆော့တာနော်စီတာကြီးကရှိုးလိုက်
and keep them in that top 6 bracket.
လူနဲ့ချောင်းထောင်ပြီးတော့လော်တာ Indonesia player
But Void Donkey ID they're right up to the edge.
အင်ဒိုကလာလိုက်စောက်စမ်းနေပြီတဲ့လား
The breakout wide
player
IWNRX
ရိုးဆိုမရိုးရအောင်ဒီကောင်နေပဲကောင်လေးတိုင်းဒီကောင်နဲ့အတိုက်တော့အစွာဆုံးပဲဒီကောင် offline ပါ
They've got the res, they've got the health back. Can they flex their muscles?
ခုနဇီတာဒူးထောင်ပြီးဆော့ဒူးနဲ့ချောင်းထောင်ပြီးကျုံပေါင်ကြားတဲ့လက်ထည့်ပြီးတုတ်နေကြီးကြလာဒီကောင်နော်ဒီကောင်နေကြီးကြနောက်တော့တော့ not
Get
nothing 3 versus 4
pushing IWNRX in and these initial nades from IWNRX have to be on target
ဒီကျွလွင့်လာကြလင့်ပေးတာပင်မရှိတယ်လင့်တာFacebook ပင်မရှိနော်ပင်ကိုကြည့်
A mad dash from Vexy. He's across to the tree. Zeta moves forwards. They found a knock to Swain. A nade up high and he's
Come on Zeta come on ဖလန်ကာကြီး come on အရှိစောကနေကျုံးပါအောင်ကျုံးပေးပါအောင်
Not down to it.
ဘူးလေးထောင်ပြီးတော့
Very low for IWNRX as well.
အဲ့ဒါနဲ့၄ယောက်လုံးပူးနေအားကြီးက
Move forward. A surge. A charge on him. Straight into the firing line, and Zetwolf goes down next. Swain's still low, has to get the healing.
Frozen
has to hold his nerve. Has to hold the line.
Indonesia
for a res.
Weedy.
And they're putting so much pressure on IWNRX. Crumbling. Frozen here. Now still just a bit of HP left to play with.
Okay, nice.
Vexy, Zeta from the back line.
Wait them.
It's the second to fall, and the last is to go. It's Void Donkey ID.
Hold there. Zeta, hold it. ဒါကြီးဟုတ်တယ်စောင်းပြန်ကောဒီတိုက်စမ်းဘေးရတင်အကုန်လေးတိုက်ဟုတ်ပြီဟုတ်
right now and they deserve this kind of
တကယ်အရေးပါဒီ state မှာ chicken တပွဲအရင်ရေးပါတိုတယ်ကကျွန်တော်12ပွဲပဲဆော့မှာ2ရက်တည်းဆော့တပွဲ chicken ရတယ်ဆိုတော့စောင်းရအရေးပါအမတ်မရလို့မရဘူးလားတော့ချင်းနေကောင် PDR ထက်တော့ချင်းနေကောင် PDR ကျွန်တော် PDR တော့ကျွန်တော်မခက်မှန်းတော့ PD ချင်းနေကောင်
with the buggy to provide an off angle. Somehow they close it out and Void Donkey get themselves a massive chicken dinner. Not to mention on top of that, that also means now John Allen has to double the amount of eggs he's going to drink at PMGC Grand Finals to 8 from 4. Max Ben, you had IWNRX picks. They did finish off second, but I did not expect your prediction to make it that far.
It's like, oh my god, then top 3? What's happening? No, for IWNRX, I said it a little bit. They were silent to some extent.
Not a lead way to
woken up a little bit, said, yeah, what we did in survival stage was not quite enough if we are hoping for top 6 spot. But man, Hodrick, you need to talk about this push. This is an insane push. Like Razor, that initial spray just made that entire push. For IWNRX trying to get a little bit more breathing space for the rest of the team to res up their teammate. But the moment Void get in that nade range, it's GG. It's game over. There is no way that chicken dinner is not heading the way of SEA.
Dude, textbook, zero hesitation. I mean, he was just like off angle. Full advantage of it. I mean, and that's what you got to do in the last chance, right? The second you get that initial knock, you feel a little bit of that blood in the water, you gotta be able to go and make that push happen. They didn't hesitate, they got it done, and they took out one of the best teams in the world. What a clutch play from Void Donkey.
Man, Vexy, I agree with Blank. We need a Vexy Mini 14 skin.
Yeah.
We need that little face on that jersey on it. That would be a really sick skin to have.
Sitting here on the corner just looking at you like, how dare you, Max? I was your original love with the Mini.
Oh, Sleepy should have qualified. Oh, no, sounds like a you problem.
Oh my god.
Sorry. But
chill, bro.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Check out Maxman over Instagram if you want to give him some hate about that, all of you Poly fans. But no, honestly, a great game. And Max and Hodrix, would you call it here the most improved team in PMGC?
By far, dude, by a long shot. You know, Dementor has to be absolutely out of his mind right now. I mean, his wrists are killing him because of all the cartwheels he's doing after that game. I mean, this guy is pumped up, and rightfully so. I mean, because look, this is a team that we didn't really like, oh, this is going to be the squad, right? We're going to see them just shred IWNRX in the second game of Last Chance, and that's what they did. I mean, and Team Liquid were gifted the circle. So, I mean, Void Donkey, man, these guys are on it.
I think I was kind of split between Regnum Tara Bra. This PMGC for 2021. The thing is, with his current pace too, Jason, like top 6, if they can keep these kind of results all of today, they could literally secure a spot at the end of day one and just like chill tomorrow. Of course, you don't want to chill tomorrow, but
Ryzen
how good of a game this was. And it's not these games too, showcase also their terrain knowledge. We saw Hodgix that they sent it between that rock and that ridge across the road. I think that was the single option that keeps Voin alive as long as they allow them to survive this game, and then the flex out with the 4 players is just a thing of absolute pure beauty. So Voin, incredible S+ tier gameplay.
TikTok မှာကမလွင့်ဘူးလားတဲ့။ TikTok ကမလွင့်တယ်ကိုတော့လွင့်လိုက်သုံးခုဖြစ်သွား။ YouTube Facebook TikTok အဲ့လိုဖြစ်သွားမှာဆိုလို့ပွဲကြတော့ကျွန်တော် page မှာလည်းပြရတယ် YouTube မှာလည်းပြရတယ်လုံလောက်ပြီးပြတယ်။ TikTok ကြတော့တခြားအလုပ်ပေါ့။ကပြမလား။ When dancer lights so slow no TikTok.
Incilio, there we go. Okay. Same here. No, Incilio, I think we're looking at this terrain, right? Hodgix, they were playing the Lumber Mountain, which is a good spot. Actually, really good third party.
That's the way I just thought ISM.
They got involved in that fight was great. Not overstepping their position, just holding on to the high ground to have information, not getting too involved versus Major Pride. But when you have to send it downhill in that flat terrain around Shelter, where so many teams are already positioned, you're not going to win that game, but they made as many points as they possibly could secure.
That's what you gotta do, right? That's what you gotta do. You have to understand, like, hey, you know what? We didn't get the zone here. We're in a really, really tough spot. Let's put some points on the board. And they put up plenty. And remember, this was the team that took Milta away from BTR, and this would have been this was the perfect, you know, pretty much finished zone to land in Milta. So BTR, only one total point, are definitely suffering from that decision.
Xavier. This is back-to-back games. Very early. They did get 1 point when it came to Sandhawk, but 0 here. Big Xavier should be the bottom of the table. RCB as well, getting 0 points. They got 4 on Sandhawk, so they're not having a strong start. Unfortunate for some of these teams. I feel like we can't say this enough times. It's not possible. You cannot afford to be having bad games right now. Top 6. It was already hard enough for some of these teams to get top 16 in the survival stage, but top 6 now to get your ticket to London. I don't know how some of these teams are going to bounce back. They have to have some massive games.
Yeah. I mean, literally. Yeah. What else do you say? I mean, like, when it comes to Xavier, they've used up all their bad games, literally at this point. So going forward, they need a good chicken dinner.
I don't want to eat that. On the second month to do we need round 1 you buy plus it in liquid.
And you know some of these other squads are going to pop off matches too. So man, when it comes to Xavier, gotta wake up. Gotta wake up.
用啊 comment 呢啲啲咪特啲咩牌，咦乜牌嚟㗎？飛公特啲咩牌用都臭啲咯，一貼嚟㗎用得下咧。飛公特啲咩牌嚟用嘅？那會秒嘛？入嚟入嚟，你錯把啲路嘅。錯把啲錯把啲。你會秒老實，那麼錯咗，但係那會係啲。
We are not seeing them grouped enough. We saw it earlier when they were holding trifecta versus D plus Kia. And here they just got completely caught off guard on the western side of Lumber Mountain. They just couldn't do anything. And currently, in a similar vein to what you said about I think that 4MV to some extent also kind of had as many bad games they can really afford, maybe one more bad game, and then they just need to come back big time if they want to have a chance to do well. It's alright. I'm here to analyze, and if it ain't good, I can't say it's good. Right now, 4MV is not playing up to what we initially expected. Jason, I mean, do you agree on that, or are you happy with their performance?
I love 4MV. I love
no, Jason, no, no. Come on.
So random Carrier, bro, Hodgix. 15th place, only 4 points. A team that really had to rise up through group stage, through survival stage. That would be unfortunate for them.
Yeah, I guess like the saving grace for all those teams at the bottom are the fact that anytime, right? So I mean, it's definitely not over yet, but they need a pop-off match, right? They can't just depend on, you know, those consistent, 6-7 points. They need a 20-point game there. And you know what? I mean, things are so tense right now. You gotta make sure those are perfectly clear.
That's why you gotta move the mic.
Your mouth is minty fresh.
That's right.
I thought you were gonna start a sponsor segment. I was like, wait, what?
No, I'm just because I mean we seen I think it was Void just like spray their face with water.
No nails. He took them off.
He was doing a little heart with his fingers.
He's removed the nails here. He's getting serious.
I always like to see like players like warm up rituals, you know, like Void spraying their faces. Take a look at IWNRX to make sure their sleeveys are in the right positions, so they're comfy. You know, back in CSA, we had baby powder being used. No, Vaseline.
Oh,
yes. That was the interesting one. Wild. That one blows my mind to see.
We used to use deodorant back in the day.
Deodorant?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. During Star Challenge, I see so many dudes with deodorant. Just a little.
I hope everyone's using deodorant.
Oh yeah,
I've been to more enough events in my career to know that not all gamers use deodorant. Let's bring it back to the game here. We do have our next area coming up here. We know the teams need to start stepping up here if they want to be able to contest those top 6 positions, but we also have our eyes on our top teams if they can.
ဒီနေ့ Timor ကြီးကမထောင်းနိုင်တော့မထောင်းနိုင်တော့တိုင်းတို့မနေ့ကပြန်သွားပြီကုန်သွားပြီ Timor ကြီးကရောင်းကုန်သွားပြီ Timor ကြီးရောင်းကုန်ပြန်သွားပြီမနေ့က Face call
of the 6 that our teams
will play
this last chance stage. Xavier need to step it up a notch.
ကြောက်လာမင်္ဂလာပါဒါတော့2024ကျော် PMGC လက်ချက်ရဲ့ဒီနေ့ day 1 မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်တူတဲ့နေ့ရက်ပဲဆော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့တော့ဆိုရင်တော့ game number 3ကျော်ပြန်ကြီးပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီလမ်းကြောင်းတော့ဒီနေ့နည်းနည်းကျန်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်
could see some drop spot
နည်းကျန်းနည်းတော့ကျန်း
I would say so. I think
so. Lane John was a Novo, Donina, Jody Pat, Joe Primo,
where they're going to
got the dolly. We got
because long drops for them have always been a bit.
Then game one, IS, gain 2 Mara, Joe Weedy, gain 3 out of bed, then it be unless from Georgia. I mean, the way the boy are shot Johnny out of Darren, so we are a title chop damage or finding them as I said, they're not in Tampa. တော့စတိုက်ပဲ survival ဆော့ပြီးတော့လက်ချက်လေးဆော့ပြီး final တိုင်တော့တော်တော်လေးတော့ပင်ပန်းတဲ့ထဲမှာပါတယ် final တက်သွားရင်တော့ပင်ပန်းရကျုံနေတယ်ပဲနော်
However, it's very hard to be right now
တော်တော်လေး
where they're making these mistakes time and time again. I just see the need to get away from this mentality that every game has to be a gigantic one. Especially in last chance where it's only 2 days of play. You have to be going for more consistency. We know.
The feature must be TH 30% for we let your develop by the line to where we should be with all since that so what a moment time. Kakao which will beat up the perfect on the Wema or Joe. No boom yao, Kakao send out a fake on the Wema or zone 1 mid of you lot you yard.
A couple of other teams that we will be looking over towards, specifically IWNRX. Same kind of performance. On their absolute brutalization of this lobby. That last game was so unbelievably fantastic. I kind of want to watch it again.
As well as so brutal as well. For the rest of the lobby, it wasn't just a really strong performance. From doing so much work for the team, but they also had some really smart maneuvers, specifically that race over the guy who's been backseating this, who's been QBing and masterminding it all. Coach Defiant 7 was able to catch up with him. Let's hear what he had to say.
Welcome to a quick interview with the 7WG. This one's going to be with none other than Defi from VD. Defi, honestly, the team has performed so well throughout the PMGC, and I mean that you guys have started off rough. You guys been improving over and over again. What has been the biggest difference for the team, especially after the win we just saw?
I mean, it's pure motivation, like fresh motivation, rookie, right? Like 3 of them, or most of them. So they really pumped up to show.
Let's see if that motivation keeps going. Back to you guys.
Okay. I don't know you saw
exactly what they needed to keep themselves going after that fat L. Can't really put it any nicer from in a 3v1 situation. That can be a real big mental blow, but that motivation push them to play smart, to work it out. And now they sit at the top of the tables for it.
Anh nhà mà phải soi chứ. Gaming chơi đi vậy, quay đây chỉ mà chơi mà soi đâu. Cái game mà soi đâu. Ô ra luôn rồi này, đi là.
really push through.
ဂိမ်းချင်းပေါ်မှာဆော့တာလက်တရလေအေးနေလွဲနေအဲ့လိုမျိုးဖြစ်တာဒါမှကြာ
And you see it a lot of times it is the
တော့လေးဆန့်ပြီးတော့အဲ့လိုဆော့ရအချက်
squads here in PUBG Mobile. Some teams will rise to the top, some teams will maintain that presence, some teams just will not. I think one of the best teams in the world that's been able to do that is Alpha 7. They have been consistently hungry for such a long time. And I don't think that hunger is going to go away, even if they win a PMGC, just because they have been battling to improve their gameplay tournament after tournament after tournament, after getting second place, third place, and finally coming off the back of a win.
They're one of
the best teams to do it as well. And now Voin Donkey is showing that lobby.
I would be happy to see them go through. I think it's safe to say. At this point.
တော်လေးဆန့်ပြီးတော့ခေါင်းလေးနဲ့အဲ့လိုလေးဆော့ရတဲ့ feeling လေးပို့ပြီးတော့ဟိုဖြစ်
do that. We were looking at
ကျွန်တော် streaming လုပ်ရင်အဲ့လိုလုပ်လို့မရဘူးတော့အဲ့ရပေါ်မှာဒီပဲကွာအဲ့ရတဲ့မထွက်တော့ဘူးဆိုပြီးတော့ streaming လုပ်ရင်အဲ့လိုလုပ်လို့မရဘူး
cut their necessary points down from that 80 point mark down towards 53 over the next 10 matches.
ခုံလေးနဲ့ဆော့ပြရတာဟုတ်လား
In general means close to a 5 point
တက်လာမဲ့ကလေးတွေလာကြည့်တဲ့လူတွေအကုန်လုံး streaming ကိုကြိုက်တဲ့လူတွေစိတ်ဝင်စားတဲ့လူတွေတို့က
game on game
ဒါတွေကကောင်းတယ်လေကျွန်တော်ခုံလေးနဲ့ဆော့ပြရင်တို့လည်း streaming လုပ် streamer လုပ်တဲ့ချိန်တိုင်းတို့လည်းခုံလေးနဲ့ streamer လုပ်ကြအဲ့လို
increase your average
မဟုတ်ငါတို့ကအဲ့ရပေါ်မှာပဲလဲပြီးတော့ stream နေတော့ငါတို့ community တစ်ခုလုံးကအဲ့ရပေါ်မှာကြီးပဲ stream တယ်လို့ပြောအောင်
goes a little bit
အကုန်လုံးကချဲရွယ်ဝဲမနေနဲ့ရအောင်အဲ့ရပေါ်မှာ stream လူကြည့်ရဆိုပြီးတော့ပြီးသွားပြီอ่ะ
really shift in your favor
အဲ့လိုစီးဆောင်ရှေ့ကနေလုံရင်တော့တကယ်လုံရတယ်ဟောတယ်
Indonesian team on top for such a long time
တကယ်လုံရအဲ့လိုလုံရ
It used to be Indo teams that's all we could talk
about အဲ့ဆိုင်လည်းလို့အဲ့ဆိုင်တော့မန်ထောင်ပြီးကျုံး
2 to 3 years ago
ဟိုဒီဘယ်သူမှမလုပ်ဒူတယောက်လည်းလုပ်ပြီးဒူတယောက်ပဲရှိတယ် original ပဲအဲ့ဆိုင်ပဲဒါတူတော့နော်ဒါလည်းသူအားကြတဲ့လူတွေရှိတာဟုတ်လားအဲ့ဆိုင်အားကြပြီးတော့မန်ထောင်ပြီးလိုက်ကျုံးချင်တဲ့ကောင်တွေကရှိသေးတယ်အဲ့လို streaming ဘိုင်းနေအရှိကသွားတဲ့လူကအပေါ်မူတည်အရှိကသွားတဲ့လူကဒီတိုင်းသွားရင်အနောက်ကသွားလိုက်တဲ့လူကလည်းအဲ့တိုင်းပဲဒါ
remember Voin Donkey
အဲ့ဆိုင်နောက်မှာတော်ရရပါ
green which
ကျွန်တော် AK9 လိုက်တို့ကျွန်တော်တို့စာပြီးလောက်တဲ့အချိန်တော့အဲ့လိုလောက်တဲ့အချိန်လေးတွေကအဲ့ဆိုင်လေအဲ့တော့ကျုံးရင်အဲ့လိုကျုံးလို့တော့ပြီးပြီတဲ့လားအကုန်လုံးအဲ့လိုတော့ပါ
all of these teams who
ကျွန်တော်တို့အဲ့လိုဖြစ်အောင်
standings but
အဲ့မဖြစ်ခဲ့ဘူး
another thing that we caught from
အဲ့တော့တူကမလုပ်သေးဘူးဆို
these guys on the roster are of course
အဲ့ AK9 လိုက်တို့ကြည့်လိုက် AK9 လိုက်ကျွန်တော်ကို AK တို့ပါဆိုသူတို့စလွှင့်နေတယ်လောက
so they may just be
သူတိုင်းအားကြရပါကျွန်တော်တို့လည်းအားကြရဟိုဟာ AK9 လိုက်တို့ဆိုလောကဆက်တဲ့အဆုပ် PC ဆို shit အဲ့လိုမျိုးတွေနဲ့ကျုံးတာဟောတယ်ကျုံးနေတော့ကိုရီးယားလည်းအဲ့အောင်ငါတို့ရှင်မလောက်ရင်ငါတို့ဒီလိုဖြစ်အောင်တော့လုပ်မယ်ဆိုတော့ modi မျိုးနဲ့လုပ်တာဒါမျိုးกว่าတယ်လားအရှိရသွားတဲ့လူတွေငါတို့လိုက်လုပ်တဲ့လူအဲ့လိုဖြစ်အောင်ဟုတ်ပါကဲဝယ်ပြန်သွားအောင်တိုက်တော့ကာရဲဆိုတော့အာလီဘိုင်းကကျွန်တော်ဒီ compound ကိုကျွန်တော်ဝင်ယူတဲ့နေရာတွေမှာရန်ကြမ်းတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ state 1မှာနေကျွန်တော်ဒီ battle တူတာကျွန်တော် compound လုပ်တဲ့ battle ကျွန်တော်ဇက်တိုက်ကိုကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါဟုတ်လားဒါတော့ဒီလိုမျိုးဒီ high ground ကျွန်တော်ပြီးဒီ compound တွေဆိုတာဘာလို့လူကြလဲတိုက်ရွာရှင်းပြဒီ compound တွေဘာလို့လူလဲဆိုရင်ဒီ compound ကနေပြီးတော့ကာဆုံးက primoc ကိုပဲသွားကာတွေကိုပဲပြန်လာလားဒီပဲ high ground ပဲပေးမင်းဘလို့ပေးကြိုက်တယ်ရှိလို့ရတယ်ဒါကြောင့် compound ကstrong ဖြစ်တယ်ဗောနော် strong တော့မဖြစ်ဘူး fan လို့လည်းအရင်မကောင်းဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ zone က state 2အတွက်ရွှေ့ဖို့ဆိုရင်အရင်ကောင်းတယ် base ကိုလည်းခုန် compound ကပြလို့ကောင်းတယ်ဗောနော်အဲ့လိုပေါ့ဒါကြောင့်ဒီ compound အခုဆိုကြည့်လိုက်တော့ liquid နဲ့ချကြတယ်တော့တဲတာလူကြပါနော် major bright လို့ဆိုလဲသူတို့ saw နေကြကာzone နဲ့ဒီက main saw တဲ့ဒီ compound တွေဆိုတော့အနှလုံးမှမရှိဒီ compound တွေရှိရပါနော်ဒီ game နဲ့လဲတယ်မွတ်နေရပဲ
IWNRX sat down towards the field south side of hospital Falcon's pretty dead center, so this is a much more calm match to start things off here, considering we had two pretty bombastic games on the first sandbox. Here we have 16 teams all still alive at 8 minutes
quarry
into
la
this one.
double high ground ဆို BDR ပဲ
Team
တိုက်
Liquid are hanging on by a thread.
ပေးပါဦး
but
sorry ပါ
they're
BDR မင်းစုံ
still
မကောင်း
playing.
ဘူးစုံကံမကောင်းပါဘူးဆိုတော့အများပါပဲဆွဲထည့်ထားတယ် state 2မှာလည်းအသင်းတွေက combo အားလုံးပြေသွားပြီ high ground လည်းပြေသွားပြီနောက်ဆုံးမှဝင်လိုက်အသင်းတွေတော့တကယ်ကို info တကယ်တိတိကျယူပြီးသွားမှရတော့မှာပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော် miss ခဲ့ရတော့ကျွန်တော် fair ကုန်ရတာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ
Team Liquid Marin Sejong on the northeast
side ဒီ
side
စပြီးတော့ကလာပြီအိုး over nothing over nothing ကောင်းတယ်ကောင်းတယ်လိုဘူးကျွန်တော်ပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် not တစ်ခါတည်းပါအပါကျွန်တော် flat ထားပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျကဲ MLG တော့ battery အပြတ်ဆိုင်ဖို့ပဲထပ်ပြီးတော့ backup တွေပါရောက်လိုက်ဆိုတော့ကဲကျွန်တော် over nothing တတင်းမို့တတင်းကတော့ကျွန်တော် တော့ပြီးတော့သွားတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါ
do have
ဗျ
a chance here still D plus Kia with 3 players as well. That's a brilliant pickup for Avian. Goes down and that brings them out to 2. So only 2 players on the inside, but
okay ကျွန်တော် MLG တယောက်လည်းဒီဘက်ချန် VD ကျွန်တော်လမ်းပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် not သားဆိုတော့ top party နဲ့ mirroring ကနေ VD နဲ့ live damage ပြီးညာလို့ပဲပြောရမှာဗျ CV တကောင်တော့ knock ခံလိုက်ရပြီဆိုတော့ battle မှာ MLG လုံးဝမတာတော့ဘူး final တကောင်လည်းတစ်ခါတည်းမှာ flat ခံလိုက်ပြီနောက်ဆုံး Hoshi တကောင်ပဲကျွန်တော်ကြံတော့မယ်ကိုရီးယားနှစ်တင်းတကယ်အထာမထားဘူးတစ်ခါတည်းတွေ့တစ်ခါတည်းပဲအားလေးပါပဲကျွန်တော်ဖြတ်ချထားပေးရပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျ 0 point နဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် MFG တွေကတော့ဒီပွဲမှာတော့တကယ်ကိုကျွန်တော်လုံးဝမကောင်းပြီးသွားပြီပေါ့နော် VD အထာနဲ့တယ်တော့ကောင်းတယ်ဒီဘက်တွေဝင်တိုင်းတော့ဘာမှမလုပ်ဘူးတခါတည်းကိုသွားလာရှိရပဲဆက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်သွားခဲ့ပြီဖြစ်ပါဗျ
D plus likely will be able to get a reset. So this is a good move from Void Donkey to get ahead of things as opposed to try and take that fight. It's a smart decision. This is what's consistently happening for Void Donkey, is just making the correct decision in those moments, not going for fights that they know they're disadvantaged in. And even as the top side lobby at 27 points, they don't really want to push the boat out too far. Like you were saying earlier, their average placing now doesn't have to be that high.
It's going to allow them to clear their areas early where other teams may not be willing to go for it, right? It's going to allow them to get a little bit more aggressive in their holds, take a little bit more area, and that will start to add into strength towards the mid and late games. And I'm excited to see if they do adapt to it or if they just keep their heads down, because there's also value in just going for the same strategy, especially when the rest of the lobby isn't allowed to do so. Incilio do still have that freedom as well. And I think we talked a lot about Void Donkey, but Incilio, another vastly improved team over the course of the PMGC league stages into the survival stages into now.
The gameplay နဲ့ phone ကြည့်တက်တဲ့ညမှန်နဲ့လောက်ထားတာကောင်းလိုက်လား
See if they can keep pace lockstep with Void Donkey.
I believe G is combination better than this year.
Looking over towards the center of the map, Luke's 77, both very close to one another. In a very strong position to play off the back of.
Sick that PPN and low line will be a guy straight to Mala. For my level, video winner, high ground winner.
Meshki, by the way,
information
making their way over
this
towards
slightly PPN dollar. A low and a PPN dollar. Manga, always okay. I was
lukewarm.
ဒီပြင်းနေတာနောက်ကြပဲဒီမှာလည်းတောက်ချောကျော်မီ RCB နဲ့ကျော် VD တွေကျော် Indonesia Turkey VD နှစ်ကောင်တော့ပူတီ2နဲ့ကျော်စီတာပဲကျန်တယ်စီတာတော့2ထောင်ပြီးတော့လိုက်ပြီးတုံနေပြီတားရီတွေစီတာ2 vs 2မှာဖြုတ်နိုင်မလားမကျော်ကြည့်ရ
wanting to try and stop the other Indonesian team getting too far away from them on those points tables, but that's a tall order.
Burn
comes through. That actually clipped Loxy. Okay, all right. The Molotov is there. The res goes through onto Silas, but the crash from BTR. Could there be a second third party as well? Potential coming in through from an off angle? I don't think so. It's just BTR for the fight. 2 players from Void Donkey as Zeta holds the corner. A third player and BTR evaporate. What's a hold from Potato, from Zeta? 2 players from Void Donkey take on the world.
Zeta in a 1v4, Potato looking to clean things out versus RCB. What is this game, John? Going absolutely nuts, wild very low, the micro Uzi making things happen, now just down to Zeta.
But it's still a full force team, you've seen it against BTR. Does he have the chops to take down the rest of RCB? D plus Kia now in the wings of this fight, and it's so impressive time and time again. We were talking about strategic brilliance, but this is sheer brute force from Zeta. Void Donkey have got it all.
From Zeta to a true alpha inside of this squad. Ridiculous shenanigans. And he gets a full reset on a ton of nades coming through from BTR, a ton of util. He could be sending nades for days over towards RCB going forward. And D+ now trying to assault this location. I mean, Voindonkey, they go down to just one player. But all things considered, like, this was a backfill onto Voindonkey. They should have gone down a lot earlier. Unbelievable stuff. And that 5-point average is exactly what they needed to keep up their point scoring. Any more that Zeta can find in this game is just a boon for their point scoring.
Goodness me. They're looking for the gravy on their chicken dinner here. Zeta, I mean, now I think he could still do it. Like, I'm not going to count him out. Not just yet. D+ Kia don't quite have the off angle to control the backside of this building, which means that he does have that wall to try and play around. The double hop through the buggy. This guy is quick on the fingers. Zeta still pinning those shots through the window and around the edge, continues to fly around, making him nervous, making him a hot step, but I think maybe his time is done. The corner here as he hops in through the vehicles again. He's back in the building. The guy's giving them the runaround, but steps out wide, nearly fumbles the door frame, but drops the smoke. The nade in, he forces the fight. Oh, it's more to go. Oh, finally, the chaos ends. But Voindonkey ID, give us another entertaining engagement.
Dude, that was nuts. That was actually nuts. Oh my God. I mean, if he'd cooked the nade slightly longer, it could have been a completely different scenario. It's hard to know when they go for the full-on push, though. But, wow, okay. I don't know if much can top this game, other than the 1v4 on the BTR, who are probably feeling really quite rough on that one. Gives them the Cardozo treatment, and then some.
That's nuts. That is nuts. I mean, they've only got 5 points on the game, and we do have to yap about them, because that was crazy stuff on the northern side. I mean, that nade as well. What's interesting about that nade is it's likely that the first player goes through, right? But you drop that nade, the players behind can't follow up immediately because they can't step on that nade. They will just go down, and then it's a 1v1, right? That means you isolate the fight by dropping the nade on the door frame, and maybe that was the idea all along. Unless you just wanted to get it out, have that little caltrop dropped underneath them to slow them down, but still such a nice attempt at that 1v3 to back up a 1v4.
Yeah, I mean, that is the typical play, right? Where you drop the nade on the door frame and they can't really push off the back of it. I think you see a lot of teams doing that. It's a fairly basic play, but the cool thing about it is it indicates that he was ready for the 1v3. Like, he was going for it, and the fact that he gets the first knockout was truly marvelous. And RCB there, they just have to commit to the fight. And it is good from Loxy, the fact that he's able to fully go for that one. He knows his time is limited there. He has to get that knock going through almost immediately, or he goes down to the nade. So for RCB, again, there's a little bit of credit to given to their side. Still, it's sort of the 1v3, guys. Come on.
There's only so much you can do. It's not really a 1v4. 1v4s are actually way easier. I don't know if you knew that, than 1v3s. Certainly in that scenario. In Cilio, they've lost a player. The Xavier putting pressure on them from the north side, taking an Elim. And it's the same story for Voindonkey and Incilio, of course, just putting up those averages. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Incilio just give a little bit of ground, but they don't really have anywhere to go, so it may just be the nades over towards the Xavier. Keep them at bay. Try and go for that 3v4.
IWB at NRX, this is a fairly typical location to be playing. Might be doing a bit of damage. No, it's a little bit close. Good nade from Zedwolf again. Over towards Reyes in the back line. Frozen gets re-knocked, and Kyne's just going to send out with Zedwolf. I think they realize there's just one player left remaining now. Frozen extremely low, and IWX might need to leave. Zedwolf steps so... Oh, how does he miss that? That's so unfortunate. The spray paints a rainbow around the head of Renozin. Damn, he was on target too.
That is really unfortunate there. Eliminated both of them, actually, over on that western side. The circle shifts out east. It's over to the Falcons on the split area there, up to the roadside. A 2-2 hold on the north. might be difficult to stop D plus getting in, but that south side may just hold itself for the plus getting in, but that south side may just hold itself for the time being. I think the wild card here is DXavier, but fortunately, Major Pride have spotted him.
DXavier. Right. They go out here with just the two elims. They've been able to grab it. Again, it's a pretty horrendous result here from DXavier. They are locked out on this eastern side. They have positions to play off towards, so see what they can get done off the back of that. 4MV understand that they need just some consistent point scoring, so they're going to stay out of the way for the time being down towards the south side. There is a lot of room for RCB and D+ to play on this northern edge alongside with Falcons. A lot of these teams likely to take one another out, and 77 have been pinned in this fight with Loops for such a long time.
Loops approaching from the southwest do have to move first. 4MV right on the outskirts of this one.
တော့ပြင်းကြီးတဲ့ VDR ၄កောင်လုံးကို VDR တကောင်နဲ့စားပလိုက်တာတဲ့ဟာရ4-1 ဝါလားအော်လောပါကွာ
He was right on top of them. It's just the fact that Major Pride have such brilliant angles over towards it, and there's really not too much opportunity to move out to that west side. You can't go through. You hit DXavier. It's just
better ဒီမှာ 4M ပြပြတဖန်တယ် Major Pride တော့တောက်ချ fresh up ပြီးနေပြီเนาะဒီ compound တော့ဒီအောက်ကကျော်ဒီ compound မှာဆိုရင်လည်းကျော်ဒီရဲ့77နဲ့ကျော် loop တွေလည်းစပြီးတော့ကျော် battery ကကျော်တောက်လျှောက်ဆိုင်ဖို့လုံးဝအပြတ်ဖို့ကျော်ချနေကြပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျစာကေကျော် state 5ဒီ compound battery တွေကလုံးဝအချိန်ဆွဲတာမျိုးစောင့်တာမျိုးတော့ကျွန်တော်မရှိဘူးပေါ့နော်တောက်လျှောက်ကိုကျော်အပြတ်ဆိုင်နေကြပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဆိုတော့77စပြီးတော့ကျော် loop ဘက်ကိုတယောက်ထပ်ပြီးတော့နှိမ့်နေပဲ not ထားပြီးတည်ရဆိုတော့ loop တွေနေနဲ့2ယောက်တော့ not သွားပြီ compound တဖန်နေနေဆိုရင်တော့ အောက်ဘက်ချမ်းမှာဆိုရင်လည်းကျော်77နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတဖန်ထားဗျဆိုတော့ဒီမှာဆိုလဲ 4MV compound နဲ့ထွက်လာဖို့ကြိုးစားနေပြီမဲ့ကျော်အပေါ်နဲ့4ယောက်ပြန်ပြီး wide ထောက်ထားတယ် Major Bright ရဲ့ကျော် gun power တွေနဲ့ပဲကျော်ကားတွေတော့တော်တော်လေးကိုကျော်စုပ်နေပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
continuing to suffer those 77 giving them a good fight. There's 2 players, 3 players, just Nino left on the outside trying to find Limbo Boom, but all 4 players of 77 are still in action here, and they find the spray through the door frame. 5 points now. They hop up overtake Major Pride, or regain rather that 6th place away from them.
Yeah, great
လာတယ်အရင်လာတယ်ဒါအရင်လာလာပါပါ
Okay.
အဲ့တော့ 4MV နေနဲ့ battle ဝင်ထွက်တွေလုတ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် compound ကိုပဲတော့ decision ချပြီးအပြတ်ဆိုင်ပဲပုံစံလုပ်လိုက်တာအရင်ကောင်းတယ်အရင်ကောင်းတယ်အရင်ကောင်းတယ်အရင်မြင်တယ်အရင်လည်းမိုက်တယ်ပေါ့နော်
looking to confirm that one through.
Yeah.
Nice nade forwards. Does damage, not much more though. Limbo Boom over and across towards Shifu. Zadira holding it from the door frame. Baron gets across and the dash towards Shifu to try and confirm this. They need to try and hold this off angle, but in comes Major Pride, the third party position. 4MV now forced into this fight. They don't really have a choice about it, and the off angle is spotted. Apex finds Zadira as he flees up the staircase, and the approach over towards Limbo Boom is there. 77 desperately trying to cling on to this one. Try and regain this compound, but it's not to be.
4MV
Thank the Lord for that. I mean, for 4MV, it's
တော့ကောင်းလိုက်တယ်battle ဝင်ထွက်လိုက်တာ
You have to get a good rotate out into a fight.
Major Pride ကလည်းကျော် RCB တွေတဲပဲဝင်ချလိုက်ပါတော့ Major Pride တယောက်တော့ not သွားနောက်တယောက်ထပ်ပြီးတော့ကျော်တော့သွားပြီနှစ်ယောက်ပဲကြမယ် Picker
And there is a bit more damage flying on through. Now down to 2 players.
Now the
Nade towards Loxy could prove disastrous.
ဘဒူတော့ 4MV ပြန် join တာပါတဲ့ရောက်ကြီးအေးပါကွာ
Holds the line above RCB's head. And Becca out in the open.
Major Pride တော့ကြားညက်ပြီးတော့ပဲပြတ်သွားပြီပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်
It's DXavier who are sweeping in from this east edge. They know they need the points.
ဒီကပပနဲ့လည်းပဲbattle လေးကို AC တာ join နဲ့ဒီဘက် side တွေအကုန်လုံးထိန်းထားလိုက်ပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဆိုတော့ 4MV Apex တို့လည်းဒီဘက် ground ပြန်ပြီးကတ်လိုက်ပါတော့တော်တော်တော့ on နေတယ် 4MV နေ
that position. They've had eyes on over towards that location for quite a while versus Major Pride. 4MV with 5 eliminations. It's a good match from them so far. I actually have enjoyed the rotates. They lost Doc and they played on as 3, albeit they didn't have much choice to get him back up again. He was immediately knocked in the process.
I know we did they
can play without Doc and they can play as 3 quite easily. Taking down 77 was no small feat.
DH ကတော့ပြန်လာပြီတိုက်တော့၄កောင်ရတိုင်းလက်ရှိ Red City တော့ရောက်လာကြပြီအားလုံး၄ယောက်တော့ survive ဖြစ်နေတဲ့ RCB ဘက်ကလည်းနောက်ဆုံး1လက်ကျွန်တော် generate လို့4ယောက်ပြီး3ယောက်ဒီဘက်ကျွန်တော် ground လေးတော့ထိန်းထားတော့မယ်ဆိုတော့ Lambo ဘယ်နောက်ဝင်လာလဲဒီဘက်မှာဘာ info မှလည်းမရှိပဲတဲ့ what the hell okay
There's still one player from Cilio 5 elims found for DXavier they get the res they should be able to
ဒီနောက်မှာပဲအားလုံးကြောပြတ်သွားပြီပဲဖြစ်ပါပဲဆိုတော့ဆုံးလဲဆက်တိုးအောင်မယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီ4ယောက်ပြီးဒီမှာတော့ DH ကလည်းအလုံးရှုပ်နေတယ်အကုန်လုံးကကယ်နေကြဆိုတော့ကြောတွေပဲကြောပြစ်ကန်ရတော့မလားပဲကြောကြည့်ရတော့ပဲဗျ
Loxy but he didn't drop all that much or anything DXavier very important game for them they'd love a top 3 let's see how possible it is for them to
I got see
western side DXavier pretty safe D+ though on a 2-2 split I kind of like it though
Okay DH နေနဲ့တူ separate ပြီးတော့ပဲဒီဘက် site ကုန်တယ်လို့အကုန်လုံးထိန်းတာเนาะလက်ရှိကျွန်တော် 4 ဝင်နေကျွန်တော် DH နဲ့ battle side တော့ mirror ကနေထပ်ပြီးတော့ support နေပြီးမယ်ကျွန်တော် DH TK ကလည်းကျွန်တော်ရှိနေတယ်
they're not worried about that crash and Falcons can pay
fair ကောင်းလည်းထပ်ပြီးတော့ Lambo ကိုတော့ပြီးတစ်ခါတော့ကျွန်တော်အပါခေါ်ရတယ်ဒီဘက်ကျွန်တော် TK ဖက်ကိုလည်းထပ်ပြီးတော့ for Brown လမ်းပြီးတော့ damage ပေးဖို့ကြိုးစားတယ်ကားတွေပဲတောင်းလျှောက်တော့ကျွန်တော်ထိထားဗျ
up on the high ground 4MV
တော့ပေးမနေဘူးအဲ့ဆိုင်မှာ 4MV နေတော့เนาะတကယ်လို့တို့ TK လာထွက်သွားတယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ကျွန်တော် 4MV နေနဲ့တော့ TH ကိုစပြီးဆိုင်တော့မှာပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျကောင်းတယ်ဒီနေ့ကောင်းနေပြီ game 3မှာတော့ကောင်းနေ 4MV damage တော့တော်တော်ထိပါပြီကျွန်တော် compound နဲ့လည်း fair ကပြန်ပေးတဲ့ damage တွေကလည်းကျွန်တော်ရှိနေတယ်ဒီပွဲကတော့ fair ကောင်းမယ်ဒါတော့ fair ကောင်းတကယ်ကျွန်တော် miss ခဲ့ compound အကုန်လုံးကျွန်တော်ရထားတဲ့ late game မှာတော့တကယ်အခြေအနေကောင်းနေတဲ့ပွဲလို့ပဲပြောမယ်ဗျDH where we Levi 1+1 okay ကျွန်တော် DH နဲ့တခါလေးပဲဖြတ်ပြီးတော့ထားပြီးတော့နောက်ဆုံး Brown တော့ကောင်းမယ်ကျွန်တော်မယ်
Now the roll
Come on!
DXavier
Aggressively.
The vehicle almost smashes into barrel.
Yeah!
He's going to hold the bonnet, hold the boot as well.
Nice.
Try to kick DXavier out of this circle. Not going to work out.
ဖြစ်သွားပြီဗောနော်ကျွန်တော် DH နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်3ယောက်2ယောက်တော့ကျန်နေတယ် Levi တော့ကောင်းလည်းပြန်ပြီးတော့ကင်လို့ရအောင်ပဲဗျ
Oh man that could actually easily
ဘာလို့ shed 3တော့ကျွန်တော်ရောက်လာပြီ KD ဒီဒီနားမှာကျွန်တော်ရှစ်ကောင်ပြန်ဖြစ်သွားပြီအပွဲနဲ့ game 3မှာပြန်ပတ်တာဆိုတော့လောက right time ပဲတိုင်းလို့နှစ်ပွဲအမတ်မရပြဿနာမရှိတော့တယ်လားဒီပွဲမှာအကုန်လုံးပြန်ဆဲသွားပြီ Nice ဒီမှာတော့ DK ကျွန်တော်4ယောက်တော့ကျန်နေတယ်ဆိုမပါတော့ဘူးစပ်ပြီးတော့ fair ကိုဖက်ကိုထပ်ပြီးတော့ push ရအောင်မယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော် DH တွေအတွက်ကအချိန်ကရနေသေးတယ်ဗောနော်ဆိုတော့ကဲချိန်နေရတော့ chicken ကတော့ဘယ်လိုမျိုးဖြစ်သွားနိုင်တယ်ဒါ DK ကတော့မလွယ်ဘူး
long time blank
DK ကတော့6ရုံပဲရှိတော့တယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီ fair ကို
excellent rotates being made some interesting tactical decisions things coming out
ကျွန်တော်ခံမှန်းထားတဲ့3လေးလုံးပါတယ်ဒီ top 3
are we seeing coaches analysts IGLs dipping into their strap book finally
Fabian စပြီးတော့ top လာတော့စပြီးကတ်သွားတယ်သူပဲစပြီး fresher ပြီးနေပြီတောက်လျှောက်ပဲလုံးဝတယောက်ကတပ်ပြီး fresher ပြီးရတယ်အကုန်လုံးလိုက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်အလုံးလိုက်ဝင်လာပြီပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဒီကျလည်းအကြိုက်မတောင်းခံနိုင်ဘူးပေါ့နော်ဒီမှာကျွန်တော် top တော့ပြပြီး command defend လာတော့ကျွန်တော် TK ကတော့တယောက်ပြီးတော့မောင်းနေနောက်ဆုံးတယောက်ပဲကျန်တော့ပဲဗျ
pretty quick clean up over towards D+
အဲ့ command defend ရလုံးဝမလွယ်ဘူးပေါ့နော်ဒီ command တွေချဖို့
just have a very good hold over towards this compound DXavier will be the next to face here D+ likely now just waiting out for a second place but with where Nobu currently is it's outside of the zone
Nobu တယောက်ပဲကျန်Nobu တော့ဒီနားမှာပဲအဆုံးဖြတ်သွားပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ
With the nades going off they know that's not coming from the hills and they know they have fully flushed
ရှင်တော့ damage ပေးရတယ်ပေးရတယ်တဲပဲတက်သွားပြီအပြီးအိမ်နားနေရပါတော့ Okay 4+3
and they will find the shot Nobu falls 4 eliminations low elimination counts for Falcons as well only up to 5
They're going to fight key
D+ here do have the high ground
အဲ့ဒီဘယ်တော့ DA က shut 2ရောက်လာတယ်ဆိုတော့
but losing
6မှတေချာပါဟဲ့လားချစ်ကောင်6မှ
really tough stuff
ဆုံးတစ်ချက်ချီအောင်ဆုံးတော့နှစ်သိန်းလုံးပါနေသေးရပြောနေတော့တကောတော့စပြီးတော့ပါလာခြင်းကျွန်တော်လမ်းပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တော့တစ်ခါတည်းမှာပါခေါ် what the hell
3 position for elimination
like that
just for a chicken dinner but losing top like that is really quite horrendous now for DXavier they might have just saved themselves coming to match 3 with 9 eliminations guaranteed second place as well very good stuff the circle does keep them in on this high ground I think it might back out some of their off angles over towards that north side specifically Paragin as well as Nadetti who I don't think they know this location just yet
Paragin is just about in that circle but yeah Nate's gonna have to move and this is the most dangerous maneuver they can make if he gets up to the roadside that would be kind of crazy but I don't think that that's possible at all with the low ground angles that they hold on the Falcons. I don't think they've got too many vehicles to play with either.
ဘယ်ကောင်လဲအရင်ထင်သေးလို့မရအောင်။အော်ဘိုင်လေ။အော်တော့ TH ဖြစ်နေတော့
so important. He's actually got 4 of them.
တော့နှစ်သိန်းလုံးပါတယ်တဲ့ဒီဇုံကနေလို့ရတယ်။ရှင်းပြတော့ state 9တော့နှစ်သိန်းလုံးရောက်သွားမှာ
Top going down there is
ဒီကကျွန်တော် smoke နဲ့ cover နဲ့ကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရမယ်တင်းနေပဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့မလား smoke ဘယ်လောက်များမလဲ smoke ကဒီကအတုံးတော့မဝင်တော့ roll ground high ground ဖြစ်သွားပြီပေါ့နော်။တင်းလုံးကလည်းကျွန်တော်မြင်ရတယ် smoke ကတော့ cover အရင်မဖြစ်တော့ဘူးဗျ။
really are quite accurate when it comes to these fights. If they're even able to get one knockover towards Action or even East, it might start to go a little bit pear-shaped. Both teams just waiting for stage 9 though, force each other out into the open.
The standoff. Everyone regroups now into the zone. Xavier, I mean, you said it, right? They need this. A chicken dinner here would be huge. Getting those extra 3 elims would put them up to 12. So a 22-point game would put them back in the running.
So be I.
Toward the wall here. Smokes start to go through. So do the nades. Good smokes too, and it does force East to actually play on this position. They still maintain vehicles as well to DXAV, which is in terms of rotating into position. A lot of slows down, big old spray over towards them though, and that's going to delay. Into nade range, really good play here from Action.
No, apology.
Blast into parachute side there. Takes him
out
Action and Icy on the Voin Donkey rollout here. It's low, but not out of it just yet. Levi's under pressure, goes to a sliver, goes down to the second. Icy with the 1-2 punch on Action's first. And clear.
Like that. They don't allow DXAV to stall and stalemate the game out to the point where Falcons in a bad position. Still allowing the sidelines from East on the side, uphill, but also just enabling that run out from Action, which was very, very important. Very great game from the Falcons in the center of the circle.
Really excellent stuff there, but we had
so much
to talk about during that game. We had the double kick on the north side from Zeta to take BTR out, those roll-ups, those hillside navigations, excellent stuff. Let's see what the desk has to say about it.
Well, it was a win indeed here for Falcons, though I think there's a little bit of criticism on our side about what transpired as we got into the final moments there. And I think I'll just throw it straight into this here. On top of the building, dying.
Oh. Should not have done that.
Made no sense. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have peeked at all. They should have just waited for that blue zone. Did exactly what they did at the end. So much room to work with. Those smokes were perfect, and this nade from Action, yeah, that just pretty much just put the money in the bank right there.
I really feel like they're going on a big positive because I also got baited by the smokes. So Falcons were like, wait, the smoke rate is like one line is very nadeable, and they're waiting way too long. But I think you said, Jason, like they were trying to bait out DX. I think the response of DX they were trying to bait out was using their utility. And a few nades did come out of DX, and no one were in the smokes. And I think that DX, because of those smokes, thought, oh, okay, they're setting it now at the start of the smokes. No, they delayed it by about 15-20 seconds. A few nades come through, and DX were like, wait, what's happening? We're not hitting any of these nades. And that's when Falcons get closer, and especially we saw players get some nade range, and that just pushes the entirety of Xavier back against the blue zone.
It was Action, and we've talked about today's Action, like kind of taking his whole team, putting them on his back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like Team Falcons, whenever they get a Gadka circle, they are going to win that game. And I mean, it was pretty easy to call, right, for a good hot minute, but they executed it perfectly. I mean, except for, of course, that little top knock, you know, but it is scary because, and I think that we're because that little mistake could have cost them so much, but it's good that the team was able to clean that up.
I mean, speaking of mistakes, we did have, I can't remember who the last player was. Was it Nobu or D+? He spotted out. He was trying to like shoot into Falcons, and he had two smokes, and he didn't want to use it, and he peeks out in an open field, like an open area,
He wasn't even peeking, he tried to run over, but he had 2 smokes and he was behind hay bale and he just sends it. I think he had enough time to throw the smoke and for it to bloom and actually maybe have a chance. But as a whole, when you're leaving the chopsticks area going into Falcon's compound, it's always going to be really tough to make that transition, Jason. And I like the idea. I think they send one player who was at Fabian south of the road to try and get an off angle to maybe stop Falcon from peeking as much as they already were doing in that game. I think that was a really good idea. But unfortunately, the fact that DX was still alive and up to 3 players.
Hey, hold on. We did 1 versus 4 up. You're not Jim.
They played on as 3.
The idea all along, unless he just wanted to get it out. Point Donkey have got it all. Now in the wing. The res through the window.
But Fexy finds one over towards Silas. What is happening here?
I don't know. Just Genie don't talk here, no. I don't want to knock on my channel. We see it.
Here's Zeta.
More we
now we're going to put the Molotov through the window. There's an off angle chiming in. It's BTR wanting to try and stop the other Indonesian team getting too far away from them on those points tables, but that's a tall order. 3 players down. And the burn comes through. That actually okay. The res goes through onto Silas, but the crash from BTR. Could there be a second third party as well, potential? Coming in through from an off angle? I don't think so. It's just BTR for fight. 2 players from Point Donkey. And a third player, and BTR evaporate. What's a hold? 2 players from Point Donkey take on the world.
V4 Potato looking to clean things out versus RCB. What is this game, John? Going out nuts, Wild very low. The micro Uzi making things happen. Now just down to Zeta.
But it's still a full force team. You've seen it against BTR. Does he have the chops to take down the rest?
Yeah, I better synergy.
Kaya sashi maya wa fe kong DA ka sanga ma. Kung we say ma, RCP say ma. Iki le ko ma. Puede maya DA. Meja pra du du be.
Synergy was not on point and up to par 4.
Puede maya lo. Tiga di khona ma chao ma lao chao ya na. Ke 0-1 ဖြစ်သွားတော့ oh my god 4 dinတော့ရ STBD က liquid
right? So I think that they realized with that circle, let's just play the edge and just try to get as many elimination points as we can. And when they have that clear vision, they got plenty of eliminations, at least for this match here. And it's scary, I'll say that, because you look at all the teams, right, that soaked up points in this match. Those were the teams that we were really worried about, right? So, man, it's only going to make things interesting here as the day goes on.
MVP going to be top here. And I did want to point out one thing you brought up. We're talking about teams feeling themselves, individual players. And Cilia, so you're talking about how they kind of 2-2 split, but allowing Stalwart to be between their 2-2 split.
That was crazy. I was like, is that intentional, or did it just like happen to go down that way and Stalwart moved in between them? But that was kind of crazy. They did outlive then Stalwart, so it somewhat worked out, Jason. But yeah, that was a weird one. But still, in Cilio, sweeping edge, it is kind of their new playstyle, and it's working out because they're in first place, tied with Voin Donkey ID. So I mean, yeah, looking pretty good for the side of CSA in the rankings.
They also get through into 6th place at the moment. So you got D+, 4V team, look good Falcons, Void, and
overall 肥我 shut 3變得嚟㗎啦 ，DK 咧變得嚟 shut 5 4容易咧 shut 7嘛 ，ISD 當陣年就 VG 咧當陣年嚟㗎啦 ，shut 1嘛。
Normality in the teams we expected to be
top 6, but honestly,
sure as hell no, anything can change by the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, but we're already a quarter of the way through. Besides, they're going to need a really strong game in this next one. But everybody else, like, they have that pop-off potential, and anything could happen. One team in particular I'm going to be really looking at is I'm going to look a little bit harder at Regnum Karya. You know, this was a good game for them.
Yeah, E7 champion na kuno takada no, na kuno ya so E7 PMGC ta ku be jan no.
But you know, with how these other teams are
performing, yeah,
you got to make it happen here now.
I feel like looking, I mean, I'm happy you bring up RCB.
ဘယ်နဲ့တင်းဝင်ခွင့်ရလဲတဲ့6တင်း bro final 6တင်းတက်မှာဒီကနေအပြင်ကျွန်တော်ဒီ state တွေအားလုံးပြီးသွား final ကြည့်အောင်မယ်
ever since, so we need to see a big step up.
နေ့ရက်ပဲဆောင်းမှာတော့ဒီနေ့နဲ့မနက်ဖြန်
Speaking of the second half of the day, we're gonna head to a short break. When we come back, we'll be diving into our second half.
格格殺嘅ဆောင်း咗နော်အသေး咗နော်ကော
Last chance.
မလွယ်ဘူးလားပြစ်နိုင်တော့မလွယ်ပြစ်နိုင်တော့မလွယ်တာအဲ့လိုဖြစ်နေအမြဲတမ်း ready ဖြစ်နေ defense ဆိုတော့ဆောင်းကောင်းမှရဟုတ်မလွယ်တက်ချဖို့တော့မလွယ်ခုနက TK တော့ Falcon ကိုမတက်ချတယ်ကိုမတော့မရောက်ကုန်သေးမတက်နိုင်ဘူး open အဲ့လောက်ထိတော့မှာကဲဒီနေ့တော့3ပွဲကျွန်တော်ပြီးတော့ရင်ကျွန်တော် game 1မှာဆိုတော့ IF ဒါ Kazakhstan အသင်းနေပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော် chicken ရတာတယ် game 2မှာဆို Indonesia ကျွန်တော် C အသင်းကျွန်တော်ထပ်ပြီး chicken game 3မှာတော့ဒါတော့ SC အသင်းကျွန်တော် Falcon ဖြစ်ပါမွန်ဂိုရီးယားအသင်းပေါ့နော်အဲ့ပြန်နောက်ဆုံးဟုတ်တယ်နောက်ပြန်6ပွဲနောက်ဆုံးအဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်နောက်လာ6ရက်နေ့မှာ final ကြည့်ရ final UK မှာဆိုတော့ဒီနေ့ရဲ့ UK ရဲ့ stake ကဘယ်လိုလာမလဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့ဟုတ်လားဒီကလောက်တော့ stake ကတော့မိုက်ပါတယ်နော်မိုက်ပါတယ်နော် final မှာလောက်တဲ့ stake တွေကတော့မိုက်တကတော့ရင် Nova Auto Chicken ဒီတော့ရသွားတယ်ဗျာသူပြောနေပြီတတိယနေပြီ Nova နေ့တနေ့ကျင်းပတာတွေမတူလားအိမ်ရှင်မတူတာပေါ့နေ့တိုင်းကဒီရဲ့ location ပဲမလောက်ဘူးအကြည့်ရ location ပြအောင်နိုင်ငံတွေလက်အရင်နေ့ကတော့ပဲလဲမသိဘူးအရင်နေ့ကတူရကီလားဒီနေ့ကUK China အန်ကျုံးမတော်လို့China esports ဆန်တော့တော့ဆောင်းမိုက်မှာတော့အဲ့မှာပုံမိုက်နေတယ်ဒါဒီက legendary player တွေတော်တော်များများ China player တော့အဲ့ကထွက်အဲ့မျိုးထွက်အဲ့က esports ဆန်တော့ရဆောင်းမိုက်တယ် China မှာbro ရကမိုက်တယ်ဆိုတော့တနာရတယ်ကြလားတကယ်အဲ့က esports ဆန်တော့ကျန်းလာမိတယ်အခုပဲရှိတာ China ဘက်ကအရင် open မလုပ်ဘူး open ပေါ့နော် open မဖြစ်ဘူးပြောလို့ရinvitation တိတ်မလုပ်ဘူးเนาะပွဲတွေပါလုပ်ပြီးကောင်းရောက်ပူးကြမှာเนาะတော့ပါဗီဒီယိုလေး short တာပြန်ကြည့်ချင်လို့ပါတဲ့ဟောတယ်ဗတ်တယ် join ရတယ်ဘာကောင်းနေမှမသိဘူးဗီဒီယိုက fresh eye နဲ့ join လာပြီပေါ့နှစ်ကောင်းလုံးတော့နေကြောက်နေဗီဒီယိုနှစ်ကောင်နဲ့ကြံတာ RCB နဲ့ fight တာနှစ်ကောင်နဲ့ကြံတာတော့မှတုတ်သလားမင်းဗီဒီယိုထပ်ဝင်ထပ်ကျုံတောင်းဝါလည်းရောက်နေစမ်းတော့တာဘော်လေးထောင်တက်နေပြီဗီဒီယို special invite ကဘယ်နဲ့တင်လဲ ancient တင်းနဲ့ပဲဒီနေ့ကဒီစမ်းအိတ်ဆောက်နေရတော့ဟာရအောင်ငါတို့ပြီးရဲ့အတင်းနေအိတ်ဆောက်နေရအောင်ဘာတော့အော်ဒီစမ်းအိတ်ဆောက်
И сегодня мы начали очень хорошо, что является главным фактором
вашей
Мы проработали наши формат игры, минимализировали зон. У нас есть два молодых игрока, и сейчас они набирают So we work on our communication, minimize our risk to the game, and since we also have like two younger players, they just started getting their experience in the game, so yeah, that's what we work on.
Glad you mentioned those young players. It is everybody's first PMGC. So just like VD, some of the players are finally starting to get their experience. We're seeing that uptrend. Some teams tend to get comfortable playing on the outer edge of the circle. Some teams get comfortable playing on the inside of the circle. What does your team prefer?
အဲ့မှာစောင်းမိုက်တယ်
команды
တကယ်ပဲ
любят играть
ဒီဘက်ကဟာတွေမိုက်
с
တယ်
краю этого зоны, некоторые команды контестятся в центре зоны.
အဲ့မှာကြည့်ရရင်တော့လုံးဝစိတ်
Мы предпочитаем играть от информации. Можем первую зону дождаться, когда команды сыграют в центр, и от чека сыграть с краю, и по возможности увидеть в центре хорошие позиции и сыграть туда.
တော့မမီလာ E7 အားပေးလာတာ3နှစ်ကျော်ပြီဟာ
we can start from the
မမီယူအဲ့ဆိုတော့မမီယူဗျာ
circle we can move to the center of the circle it all depends during the game and about the information
E7 ဘာမှရလေးလောက်ပါပဲတဲ့
I can definitely see that, especially in this last match. You guys were able to do a 2-2 split, leapfrog some teams. It was insane.
ဘယ်ရရချီတာပြီးလိုက်တာဒီနေ့ချန်ပီယံတွေရပါဗျာ E7 ဒီလီတော့မတိုက်ရသေးဒီနှစ်လုံးတို့
Great to hear from Encilio to talk about how they've been able to perform here. And for a team that has not had a player go to PMGC previously, they're definitely playing like a team who's almost taken a title at PMGC.
Let's go.
Yeah, Fashley was close so many times, man, and he's like, oh, we're finally here. And of course, they got two new rookie players, but it's very visible, Jason, that they feel so much more comfortable in this lobby with those. But they got that experience, and they got that experience through the survival stage, through the league stage, and now they're just playing their A game the way they wanted to play. I'm pretty sure from the get-go. But now they just feel way better. And to be honest, they even have these weird splits. We talked about it earlier, right, Jason, with their 2-2 against Stalwart. And even then, they just don't falter. Like, it's fine. We can come back from this. And they do so in, like, a flashy way. So I'm sold on Encilio. And they've proven that they can maintain that big step up they did in survival going in the last chance.
You said they brought their A game. Well, for me, it seems like the Infinix GT20 Pro has taken them to S+ game because we can see they've been able to perform so well and almost get into the grand finals at the moment. The 120 FPS and 144 hertz AMOLED screen. You guys can pick one up and play it like the Pro. Who do you got on there, Max? Who's on the wallpaper now?
I don't know if you want me to use this one, Jason, but it's an old picture of.
You can't even see what it is.
Of Jason. Oh, there we go. It's an old picture of Jason. I had to go back on the dark web to find this one. Yeah, send me a message on Instagram. You can use it as your own.
Wait, I'm machine. No, I'm machine. Yeah, the PMGC be my summer.
I don't know.
12.
PMGC so in the road they got transfer
studio. Me walking in for the first time.
Yeah, me I
hired me to move to Germany.
I just googled Jason Kaplan picture, and that was the first one that came up. So.
Well, I tried Googling Maxman with hair and I just didn't get any hits. So as we do move into now our final Erangel of the day, I feel so bad for saying that.
Oh, the Janet in the ABM.
Hey, you know what? You hit me back with my medicine. I can't argue about that.
That was too mean. I'm sorry. That was.
Let's end the hour at the hour.
We have had a pretty exciting day so far. No repeat. I mean, we're seeing how close leaderboards are. Just one win will get you into top 6 or get you extremely close to top 6. I mean, we saw Xavier bounce back from 16th place to, I believe, around 9th. So it's really anyone's game at the moment, and I feel like we're seeing really every strat.
Yeah, I have to say one thing that seems. You got to put us up with third parties are home up in us all. Yana Malaysia to Yana Mabia. Yana Indian. Exactly, Beijing Lolo Lane on the. I think time for lonely is a lobo chega and love you. Bowling like Manasasa, Sami the car top. Where to a Kasi, Kawa, the Rabio, Banya, where your map, Yamil training at Tajan Pian Tree. Hey, Daria, Coast Gala Papa Popchin leader, your Piachin leader. Yeah, change Island, not home, Chin you got the other.
For sure. So if you get that opportunity, you gotta take it, and teams.
You stay on your line, cool buying.
At the end of survival stage as well.
He was.
No, JV, Alone.
It was him and
Yani Maya, Farmers over. Coach got Biole, I got to Biola the Dilu. And never Biola, the Biola, Tarayan, Lodoyan, the Abbas or Get out. Blue saw me, follow me, this it was a blue, and the Lodo, I will load on the Yag.
Do you think it was Zulio though?
I'm a loach and Yarni, or Dido, Yoba, me and Dido saw, me and Dido Taupi, but yeah,
for them.
မမီနေနေချိန်နဲ့အလောက်မရအလောက်ပြောလို့လည်းချိန်ရှိဟုတ်လေပြင်မနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ရှင်ပြဟုတ်လားလက်ချန်တီဆိုတော်တော်ပြင်မဟုတ်လားနှစ်ရက်တည်းကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရနှစ်ရက်လည်းထိုင်ကြည့်နေတယ်ဒါနဲ့ဒီကောင်လေးသွားလာနဲ့လုံနေရတာပြင်မနဲ့
They didn't. I mean, they technically didn't even like qualify, right? It's because Tusaman Brazil couldn't play that they came in and they were able to show up and still do extremely well in Group Yellow. You know, hover on that 4th place position for quite a long time.
Green wine, the one got the change on it.
I would say I would say Vicious
2 on 1 တော့မှတယ် Nova ကိုသွားစော့နေတာဟုတ်လား
definitely like right behind that
တော့တကယ်ရောက်စီချင်တာ2 on 1 Nova ရောက်နေဆိုရင်တော့
I'd have to agree on that with that kind of sentiment.
again here we go again Nova again ပဲနော်
So maybe had a little bit of time to prepare because they were like, wait, we're going to PMGC, what's happening there?
2 on 1 Nova ရောက်ရင်
really significantly
ဟော်ရာရှိပဲ
improved, and I
နောက်
think
တစ်ယောက်ထောက်ဝင်မရောက်ဘူး2 on 1တယောက်တည်းတော့မရောက်နောက်တစ်ယောက်ဝင်မရဘူးတရားဝတ်တော့မထုတ်ဘူးအကုန်ထုတ်
this guy has such a good clutch factor here, so it's incredible. Though before we head in the game, on the top 4 gunslingers, Icy is currently in second place above your actions, your east, which we don't see that happen very often because, as we know, he's not like the more of a support off-angle player. But that's kind of interesting to see him top the charts for.
I just saw Silas, dude. Did you see his face? He was just like staring off into the distance, dude. Things are starting to get really in, man. Yeah, he's got to lock in here because, I mean, now's the time. Now's the time. Last Aerogel of the day. Got to get it done.
Well, 10 seconds left to go before we do hop
into
this.
We're
almost at the halfway point of the entire last chance. It's only 16 teams
that can move through. Let's check.
After this game as we head into it with John out of lane.
ကျော်လုံးမင်္ဂလာပါဒါတော့2024ကျော် PMGC ကျော်ဒီရဲ့နောက်ဆုံး state လက်ချက်မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ day 1 game number 4နောက်ဆုံး event ဖြစ်ပါတယ်
so a nice easy plain path to go in for match number 4 we'll see how our teams navigate this one the top spot under hot contest right now it's been on a tiebreaker for the last 2 matches blank and just about Incilio getting into that top spot I think this is the first time we've ever seen it go to the 4th tiebreaker statistic right you go chicken dinners then placements then points in last match but all of those were the same for those 2 teams and now it goes to the placement points in their last match with Incilio getting
ပုံမှန်လေးပဲပြီးတော့ပြီးတော့မယ်
Yeah, funnily enough, I mean, this is the crazy thing where it can really get a little bit hot there. Obviously, we're not too concerned about a first and second place tiebreaker, although it is very cool to see, as I don't think we've seen it in a long while. But we are concerned about that 6th place bubble. This is the last angle of the day, as the boys were saying, talking about RCB and how Silas looking off into the void, staring at his own face. And for RCB, typically they do very well.
TikTok တွေတစ်ပိုင်းပဲလောက်တော့
already.
ပါတယ်လေးပြုတ်သွား
This is your last.
ဒီတော့မတက်ဘူးလက်ချက်တိတော့မရောက်ဘူးပြုတ်သွား
This is where they do usually significantly well.
တော့ဇောကတော့အပေါ်ဆုံးပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကျွန်တော် step လာနဲ့ပေးနေပါတော့
Northeast shift on the circle does bode well for them.
ဒီပွဲတော့ it's okay တော့ we see တွေရောက်သွားပြီ
see them do well here over on Stalber side of things and I think RCB would be a very good team.
မြန်မာပွဲမှာကိုတော့ like တိန်းသွားဒီနေ့တော့မသိနေတော့
because I still think
လိုင်းမကြောက်တစ်ချက်တော့မကြောက် လိုင်းကြတာမဟုတ်ဘူးလိုင်းကောင်းတယ်လိုင်းကောင်းတယ် VPN ကြ VPN တက်တယ်အဲ့တော့ဝယ်သုံးလာရရင် free တော့ဘလို့ဘလောက်တော့စိုးမလဲဝင်းတော့ရအောင် free
4V probably the most
interesting one out of that.
It is a tenuous 6th place with practically
VPN မှာပင်တက်တော့ live stream မှာ
points behind them.
primary တက်
It is a really tightly fought pack, and because we are only 3 matches in, it will start to define itself. Rafinha, come on, you can get it. You can get it off the ground. No, he's just going to go for the vehicle instead. Bombing along.
He dropped military pick ကိုပြောင်းသွားလာတယ်ပြောင်းကျွန်တော် second drop military pick
loops heading on with the vehicle south side of Georgia Pole potentially trying to get a cross the bridge early it would be pretty high value to get that position over in Cube Compound on the northeast side stop teams like Miran Sejong from blocking you on that road crossing because that is your move if you're loops right you don't go on that south coast you go up over that north side try and take position
Yeah,
Indonesia thing that she don't number never shut to on each other.
Compound, which will be absolutely fine. But we do have an interview.
So we did here a chini count and I do ye. The need to go a long loud need and Matty are don't win it the way of 7 known and to consistent chip it or to one of your met he does to gain number 4 your life, no? The way 7 so we not wait time
similar height to everybody else. But yeah,
don't
Zeta obviously having an unreal performance over that last game, 1v4 versus BTR, Indo on Indo action, but overall an insane player and a rookie coming into this one. Let's hear from Seven about Zeta.
Welcome back to a quick interview with the
Zeta ဒူရာကောင်းလေးဒူးထောင်ပြီးဆော့တဲ့ကောင်းလေးအောင်တိုက်လို့
from BD.
ဒူးထောင်ချောင်းတောင်ကျုံးတာ
better Indonesian team is it VD is it BTR I feel like we got a clear answer with what just happened in the last match. Tell me, what was going through your mind whenever you clutched that up?
Oke, jadi sebelum ini ada pertanyaan tim Indonesia yang mana paling kuat di antara BTR dan juga Von ID. Dan setelah apa yang terjadi kita ngerasa adakah itu udah fix benar lah yang Von ID adalah lebih jago daripada BTR. Jadi pertanyaannya adalah ketika kamu ngeratain BTR tadi apa yang berada di pikiran kamu?
Yang di pikiran aku sih ya karena ada third party juga, jadi aku usahain buat ratain yang di belakang. Soalnya teman-teman aku di belakang lagi perang juga sama RCB.
Yes, of course. I'm focused on myself where we need to clear on the backside because there's a third party as well. So yeah, I just gonna focus and try to kill them.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go. I'm
pretty sure you're gonna be hyped up. Back to you guys.
Excellent. You've heard of the Falcon Punch, but now we're seeing the Zeta Donkey kick to be taking players out of the lobby left and right. Will we see a repeat here? Because they have the far side of the circle to get to. Void Donkey ID right now over in Primorsk, and a long road ahead of them. But will they go for that edge sweep style that Incilio seem to be prepared to do, depending on the situation in the game, which I find to be. I'm gonna give him a little bit of flack here. It's such a non-answer when a team says that. It's like, oh, we just do what's best for the game. It's like, okay, but which do you prefer? Like, you've got to like one more than the other, surely.
It's hard. It is hard. I think when you play PUBG Mobile, I think, to be honest with you, as much as it's often an answer,
RCB အမှတ်တရ14မှတ်ကျော်ရတာပါเนาะကျော် D1 အတွက်တော့တိတ်တော့ကျော်အဒီနည်းနေပြီလို့ပဲပြောမယ်ဗျ
I guess you do have a preference, right? Would you rather
မစ္စကပဲတော့စာပြီးတူလာပြီကျော်ဒီရဲ့77 RCB လည်းကျွန်တော် mid ball မျိုးရောက်လာပြီ RCB ကိုမောင်းတော့ဒီ state 2မှာပေးမယ် leveler ဖြစ်ဖြစ်ကျော်ဒီဘက်ရစင်တာပြီးဘယ်ဝက်ပြီးကျော် ACC ကျော်
playing it
to separate our
border of insanity of damn, well, we're going to sweep people, but we may go down in the process and completely scupper our chances at getting into the top 6. But we let those teams do what they want.
ဒီမှာ77နဲ့မတက်လာအောင်လည်းကျွန်တော်ဒီရဲ့ RCB ပဲပြန်တော့ chain ပြီးတော့ pressure တော့ပေးတာလို့ပြောတယ်
You're likely going to be playing edge here.
RCB have the angles onto 77. A little bit of EMEA infighting here. 77 swing in for the pickup. Boob has arrived and takes him on down the hill. 5-star rating. Thank you very much. Get me out of here.
Yeah, right now, actually first time in quite a while that we haven't had an EMEA dominated top side of the lobby. At the moment it is Indonesia with Void Donkey, Mongolia, the Falcons. Up towards that top side. 77 in major pride though, not far behind. I do think that they can move up. IWNRX were shortly cut out from that top 6 though.
Yeah, ဒီမှာဆိုလည်းကျွန်တော် major price ဒါတော့ machine တဲ့ကျွန်တော်ပုံပေါင်းနေပါတော့เนาะကျွန်တော်ကား
But for IWNRX their position right now it's not secure. I do think they can get another big game going and they have to make it happen because for IWNRX there has been a fair few times, John, where we've been waiting for them to do something big and it just never came around.
Always just waiting out that window, watching. Never delivered. Not yet, anyway. North side circle condensing in 7.5 minutes through. Haven't seen first blood draw. Always got to be a worry for them, but nobody in their way for now. Void Donkey also late on that rotate from Primorsk on that southwest side. I mean, generally on a circle like this, you know you're going to have to rotate in late, so why not go real late? You're in stage 1, the zone is definitely manageable. Just grab a bit of healing on board, keep yourself topped up with those bandages, get yourself into the circle when those openings present themselves.
4MV, long rotate for them. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tough. But like you said, compound that sits very much on the north side on the coastal line. I think we have seen Mirren Sejong pick that position before, and I imagine they'll go for it again. Mirren Sejong currently in 14th place with 8 points. extract some points from this match and get themselves more over towards that middle side of the pack because they're one of the few teams that is lagging behind alongside with Loops and BTR.
Yeah, fair going toရောက်လာပြီ miss ခဲ့ကိုရန်လိုက်တာ
Trying to move off the mark for Mirin Sejong, but
state 2 we'll be on the state 2
Falcons off the back of a chicken dinner, a low elim chicken dinner.
Stabilize ပြီးသွားနေမယ်ဟုတ်တယ်
spots there.
ဒီကောင်မလမ်းကြောင်းထပ်သွားရင် Ice နဲ့ကျွန်တော်လုပ်တယ်
Nice, pretty fast right now. 11-point gap from third down to fourth. They'll be pretty happy to be the ones to receive it. Luke on the north side also looking to try and challenge up towards that bubble position. Every team definitely still within striking distance, but they're running their supply of games dry now. Bad games from this point out become terminal at the bottom of the tables. DXavier on the west side threw themselves a lifeline with that last one.
Yeah, and they really needed it. I mean, with DXavier, they jumped quite far up the lobby, but only into 9th place. Like it wasn't a game that suddenly they could breathe a sigh of relief. It was a game that we might be able to get to the top 6 now. So it's a good position to be in for DXavier. I think they do play well on that side of the match. Incilio cut out on the southeast side. Looks like they're going to try and rotate round. It was Loops to get ahead of him on that north side. Not the team before be able to do that, but I think some teams are assuming this is going to head back down to Apex down. Reefus in no position to help out versus Evo Station.
Elementrix goes down, and that's going to slow them out just a little bit.
Oh, come on!
Still peeking, lands the spray. The shotgun shell through the window there, and now back to the AUG. Not bothering to confirm the flash, but docks up for the fight. Steps into the door at Evo Station. Doesn't know which way's up. Will get taken down by the to keep their teammates safe. D plus Kia though, wanting to try and move through this one. Keep this fight under control, keep it bleeding so that they can extract the points from it. 18-1 so far is their scoreline. They're in the top 6. They want to keep 4MV beneath them.
4MV is getting a little bit dicey right now. They do get one of the reses through. Apex is bleeding out slowly but surely, and I don't know how likely it's going to be that they're able to pick him back up again. They're dropping smokes to maybe get across. Attempting to get that player back up again, maybe not the best of ideas for you. Eastern shift means deep has to get a move on. They know they here, so for them it's much more but they're happy to just leave Nolbu behind alongside with one other player to hold out 4MV.
D plus Kia. We saw a couple of splits
from
the last game. It worked out quite well. They got a lot of points for it. So a nice little separation on the southwest side to keep their options open.
Right hand is join on, but it's joining
for a crash on the situation blank. And it could have very easily
but they didn't join challenge
but they
did.
Safe averages right now. This Team Liquid losing players. It's Void Donkey ID putting their first point on the game and securing that top spot away from Incilio. 2 points behind now.
Yeah, great news for Void Donkey ID. And again, this is a really long rotate a lot of times for Void Donkey ID. The fact they're in this position over towards the western side of Stalber is great. They have a location to play down towards the south side. That staging on the mountain, the staircase upwards. So what playing in Stalber towards those ruins. They're very much out of the action for quite a while, I'd imagine. One player, just AZ.
DXavier making a wide wrap. They were up on the northwest edge near Severny, behind IWNRX, but they're wrapping down to the south side. They may spot a player from D plus here. This is a bit of an unexpected roll-up. If they can find this knock, it would be huge to open up this south side of the map, approach from that Yaz Lake potentially.